My turn again? All right. By the way, if you're going to have a controversy, what's really weird about this guy that was friends with the bomber and they killed him? Doesn't it seem like, I don't know what to make of this. They went in to arrest the guy, or maybe it's just there's other stuff in the news. But it would seem like to me that would be, there is the tornado, and they've got the IRS woman taking the Fifth Amendment and all of that stuff. They go in to talk to this guy who they had talked to, how long has it been? 2 weeks or something since the bombing? Longer?
Yeah.
They talked to him right away, this guy. Now, Ibrahim Tadashev. You know what? I could never live in one of these countries. It'd be unbelievable. I'd be like, they would think I, was a special needs person. I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't do anything. I think English is easy. This Chechen, this Russian, this is tough. What's your brother's name? Ibrahim, Tadashev? Yeah. Oh, with an accent, I can do it better. Ibrahim Tadashev. You know what it is? I didn't know that. It's the accent, like Indian. Oh, hello. Like that. That's my Indian. People call up all the time. Do your Indian, would you? Do the thing. They kill the guy in some sort of, they say he was connected to a triple homicide with one of the Dazarniev brothers, the older one, the boxer, but they were drug dealers and all, and apparently they were I think they were talking to him, and the next thing you know, he starts shooting or something. Has there really been any big report? This seems like it should have been like glaring headlines, and almost.
But don't you think the tornado may have knocked out something?
Maybe, but it's almost like they're making it up. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but it's like they're making it up. Garrett, does it feel like that to you, that it's not being talked about so much, and it's like all of a sudden this guy's dead? And
it feels like they're covering something up.
It does.
That they don't
really
want people
strange.
to talk about this. Yeah. Wonder or question it.
While the man was being questioned by an FBI agent and 2 Massachusetts State Police troopers and other law enforcement personnel, a violent confrontation was initiated by the individual. One agent sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Now, I got to tell you, he's surrounded by police, FBI. He hits a guy or does something to a guy, and now, what is that exactly? It's weird. It really feels, odd. Now, and I don't have anything to say about it. It's not like I have, here's a humorous, sometimes, Garrett, people expect me with my, my background.
Yeah, it's expected.
To have a humorous kind of a take on it. I'm having kind of it's sort of not in the news take on it. Is Fox over there screaming about it? Are they saying it's a cover-up? I'm really surprised. A cover-up of what? I don't know. What did the guy say? It just seems like a setup that they're sitting there with him, and the next thing you know, he's dead. Where were they? Were they in his apartment? It sounds like they were in his house because they roped off the... Listen, what's that Ethan Hawke? No, it's not Ethan Hawke. Gary Oldman, when he played... The Professional. Remember that one? When the guy's taking care of that beautiful actress, Natalie Portman, when she's a little girl. Remember that?
Yeah.
But he's really... The cop is really the bad guy, and he's the drug dealer and all, right? And even he kills the hero at the end and everything else, it was just weird. It's like one of those deals. It's like a setup of some sort. I don't know. And what's funny about me is I won't think about it again. I'm a real American, If I have another problem, I don't think about anything. Someone said to me, "What do you think of Apple?" They didn't pay the taxes. I said, well, it's in the law. They can, they didn't do anything illegal. They hired a group of individuals and gave them all their books and everything else. And apparently it took a couple, 2-3 years for these lawyers and accountants to figure out how to do this. And it's totally legal, whatever it is. It's pretty complicated. Now, is that bad? I don't know. I really don't know. If you're allowed to take the tax thing and you're in Ireland or whatever the thing is, I don't know. They said they only did it on stuff they sold over there. Here's the thing. We're not going to get that mad at Apple or and I'm sure Microsoft does it and Google and everything else. But people get really mad at the bankers because Christina, you don't like your bank, but you like your iPhone, right?
Yes.
Isn't that weird? You ought to be just as angry at Apple and just as angry at all those big companies that don't pay their fair share of taxes. I'm telling you.
Well,
I love my bank.
Point, but
I love my bank.
These people.
I love the bank.
How?
I love the bank. I love the financial people. I go in, I have a seat. Nobody's ever, a person, an individual screwed me.
Hundreds of dollars being taken out of my account right now by somebody lifted my numbers off the internet. They flag me at shopping at the Gap in Pennsylvania, but they don't flag the girls that are being purchased on my card.
Let me tell you something. The reason why they stole your identity is watch this, Garrett. You're on that internet all the time. You're on that computer thing.
I mean, they're not going to get very far, but I'm $100 heir,
But you know what? The thing is, don't you immediately close it, say somebody got it?
I did, but there's all of these pendings from before, so it has to go through, and then they have to reimburse. It's just a real big pain in the neck. But what bothers me is
it makes you hate the bank.
Yeah, because they're flagging for unnecessary reasons. They don't flag when I need them to, and then when I go in to complain about it, I have to. They're offering me $12 a month that I pay them to protect me. I'm already a customer. You should be protecting me regardless.
They pay their taxes in the United States. The bank, whatever the bank is. I think there's only one bank, by the way.
My mother pays.
Didn't Wells Fargo buy every?
Yeah,
but you see, to me, I'm looking at. They're putting the financial guys in jail and all that, and I'm sitting there, the guy from Apple said, hey, totally legal. It's almost like, it's like almost a cyber mafia, because, like even John Gotti go, hey, I did nothing illegal. I'm a law-abiding citizen. How many times have you heard that in the gangster movies? I'm a law-abiding citizen. I take the Fifth Amendment. I take the Fifth. By the way, how stupid are the IRS? How dumb are they? And I'm pretty sure that this, you've got to find out. It's a 501c, I believe, when you apply for nonprofit, right? Or no, excuse me, tax exempt. I am pretty sure that it says in there it's not supposed to be, it can't be about politics. I am positive it says that. And so that's why the Democrats aren't yelling too much. Because all these PACs are about politics. What is that all about? If I'd have seen anything, I would have checked them right away. I'd be great at that. You know what? I would love to be a low-paid bureaucrat in the government. I'm not making much money, right, Garrett? Here comes the stuff over. Oh, really? Big patriot. Check him. Tea Party. Check him. Yeah, why not? He's not going to pay any taxes. If it said, you know what? If it said save puppies, tax exempt, check them. Check them all. That's what they should have said. It was a brand new tax exempt thing. We're checking them all. They just don't get up there and no. By the way, everybody threw everybody under the bus. Everybody threw everyone under the bus. I'm sorry, I didn't do it. I didn't do a thing. Nothing. I'm telling you right now. Do you think they really know what we're doing right now at the head office on the next floor up, Garrett? If we were bureaucrats, that guy would go to jail. Whatever it is, he would go to jail. I don't know what they're doing down there. That Christina and that Garrett and that. Now, they would come to me because I'd be like, mid-level. I go, listen, I gave them instructions. I didn't tell them to do that. I don't remember saying. I don't even have an email that says that. Right? Go to Garrett. Next thing you know, Christina, under the bus. I wish I could whistle. Under the bus. Oh, yeah, I turned everybody in. I didn't tell anybody anything.
Likewise.
And that guy Wiener's running for mayor. I am sorry. I'm sorry. He's too creepy for me. And the wife, I'm sorry. They're creepy. Now, you guys don't vote. By the way, you should move to Los Angeles.
I do. I vote.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, you should move to L.A. then, Garrett.
Bill Thompson, like Ira.
Garrett, you don't bring him on the show. I'd like to get. You see what? If you had Wiener on, we've had these people on that have had things in their lives, but you can't talk about it. It's the first thing that would say in the notes. Don't ask him about what he did on the internet. If I was a candidate, you would come on, you'd talk about it and go, look, I did something really dumb, but I'm a public servant and people would go, what? I heard him talking about it. He did something kind of dumb, but he's a public servant. They don't want to talk about any. It was like we tried to get Newt Gingrich on. You couldn't ask him about his 3 wives and the one that he made sign the marriage, the divorce while she was, having cancer treatments, which isn't true, but I'd asked him anyway. So, anyway, but I started this off with there's something odd about them blowing that guy away in that room. I don't know what it is. What's Wiener's wife's name? How do you pronounce it? Is that Hoda? Is she on the talk show? Does she work Hoda. With? It's not Hoda. I thought she worked with
I hope
Kathy
it's Virginia. Virginia Wiener. Great.
I hope if he wins.
Oh, that's right.
I hope Huma. I hope if he wins.
How would you pronounce that? Is the H silent?
Huma. It says, I'll look at it right here. Huma. He and his wife in a campaign video, which I saw this morning, they show the little baby and they show him being a dad, and then they showed the creepy South Carolina governor who won. They showed Bill Clinton lying. I have to tell you something. That's weird. That is really weird.
He was on WNYC radio this morning, and I guess the host was asking him questions, and he says he was like, I was lying to my wife, not the public. So I guess he is talking about it. It's for some people the worst of it.
Now wait a minute. Now you know what? Hold on a minute.
Was that you lied
Hold
publicly?
on.
Huh?
Hold on a second. That's a good answer. That's a really good answer. Because I don't care what any of you think about anything, but I'm in real trouble at the house, and that's worse than anything.
Yeah.
I've said this before. If my wife said, I know you've been screwing around, and I've got a gun, I pulled the trigger, it's at your temple. No matter what you answer, I know it. You're dying today.
Do you want the whole thing? Well, this was an enormous private failing that I was very embarrassed by, and it doesn't make it any better, but I was deceptive to my wife, and I was trying to conceal my wife from the embarrassing thing that I had done, and I reacted to it wrong. He explained, and admitting that it was a mistake and an element of his private life.
I like that answer,
Yeah.
but I think she knew about him all along. If you go back and look at any of those documentaries about him, he ran around on her when they were dating and all of that. But you know what, Christina? Every woman that met him, they fell in love with his power or something, even before he was elected. Have you ever met a guy and you were just enthralled with his knowledge, with his power?
Besides
enthralled. Forgive him. Well, wait a minute. Besides me? I thought you'd started running some sort of cartoon. Christina, have you ever, you've been with a guy and you go, the man, she'll be, I know what you're doing. The man, I sat across from the man and his power came across the table. And even though he was a bad guy, I loved him. You ever done that?
Yeah. Yes.
Garrett, you know what I thought? I thought you were going to say no.
Lunch lady syndrome. No, it's like lunch lady. You're always attracted to the bad kids.
Right.
The bad guy.
But Anthony Weiner is kind of odd looking. You know what I'm saying?
He's not a bad guy. He just did had a bad judgment. He just, I mean, he was probably excited because of the internet, and
But he showed his cleavage on the internet. I don't even know what you say about what is that in between a man's pecs, Garrett? What do you call that besides disgusting?
Soul patch. Is that the soul patch?
No, that's on your chin, I think.
Oh.
Wait a minute. I don't know what you call that. Your pecs are on either side, and then in the middle, a man doesn't have cleavage.
I guess he could.
You know what it is? It's your pectoral valley. That's what it is.
But I mean, he showed his twigs and berries too.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He showed his. Wait a second. Did he show his moose and squirrel?
Yes. That's what Andrew Breitbart got a picture of it and was showing everyone around, and then that picture got out.
Wait a second. You mean I didn't? You know what's weird? I guess I do remember that now. The guy,
but he didn't want to release it. But other people took pictures of Andrew Breitbart's cell phone.
Oh, right.
Did he have to just stand up? He would stand up, pull his pants down. You couldn't see his face.
He would take it in the mirror, right? Wasn't it mirror shot?
It wasn't his face, though.
Now, we've already used every euphemism. What did you use? You used twigs and berries. Hold on a second. I said moose and squirrel. What's yours, Christina?
You put me on the spot, and I don't know. I'm so bad at euphemism.
Pepperoni and olives.
There you go.
Thank you. Use that one wherever you go.
All right. Thanks.
How about this one? What is it? Like, I want my all the way. What is that one? What it all, that's bad. Hamburger all the way? Not all the way. What is it when you have lettuce, tomato, everything on it? What do you call it?
With everything?
Yeah, with everything. There you go. It's hamburger with everything. That's what it is. By the way, if he wins, I hope he also gets an Oscar. Then he would be Oscar Mayor Wiener. There you go. That's my
brilliant,
stupid little joke. Thank you.
That was great.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think someone said, "What do you think Obama ought to do? Kill Bin Laden again?" That's what I would do. He escaped. It's not him. He swam, he jumped.
Do you think it's good for him to have multiple scandals going on at once? So people can't focus on one?
I will tell you that he kills a lot of people with the drones, okay? And so the drones have been pulled back. I think we're going to see a major bombing. I think he's going to launch the airstrikes against Syria's Air Force. And now the Republicans want him to do this. But once he does it, the scandals... He won't launch until the scandals are starting to get boring. Then he launches. If I was the president, that's what I would do. I'm going to launch anyway, but I don't have to do it tomorrow. What's a few more thousand, freedom fighters in a country that's going to end up being, run by Hezbollah anyway? Yeah, that's it. By the way, this guy Karzai, you're going to love this, Garrett. The United States is pulling out its armed services in 2014. Guess when he has decided to retire and never run for public office again? Guess.
2016?
No.
No?
2014. He and his brother will take a few $1 billion and they'll be in Paris by sundown, whenever that is. I mean it. I read the other day that this happened in Iraq, and it happens, and you can go online and see it, and the government says, yes, this is true. Every week in Kabul, they deliver suitcases full of cash. If you go to Google right now and type in Karzai, Afghanistan, suitcases full of cash, it won't come up conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. They admit it. They have to have the cash to pay the warlords or whatever. I'm telling you. It's really odd.
Wow, you're
I'm
right.
telling you. Yeah, suitcases full of cash. And they just give it to them, and they admit it, and they have to do it. The general says, we did it. It's like a few $1 million a week. That's unbelievable to me. That's just That and the report that 90% of women 18 to 45 wear the wrong size bra.
True story. I was just measured this weekend.
That's right.
Seriously. I was all off.
How? Yeah, they're usually bigger or smaller. The mistake.
I don't know what do they do?
It's not even always the cup that's wrong. It's also just this size all the way around. That was what it was for me. I was estimating larger than I am, which makes you feel good,
But aren't those adjustable at all?
Yeah, but after so many uses, so many wears, eventually, kind of.
I guess that's the end of the politics, huh? I never heard. You two got so excited.
From boobs to boobs.
No, you know what you did? Garrett, you went like this. Now tell me something. Is it adjustable?
You got inquisitive.
Very. You can call me on the Jay Thomas Show. It's a long number. I hope it's on the phone, right, Garrett? Is it right there in front of them, spelled out?
On the radio it says 866-99-INDY on it.
Whatever. It's just a lot. Let's go to Dave, who's in Fort Lauderdale. Hello, Dave. It's Jay Thomas.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, by the way, I was big pals with Dave Barry at the Democratic National Convention. Remember that, Garrett?
Yeah.
He called the show. He had a book.
Yeah.
All of this. And we really had a great time. We went to dinner together. I know you're not Dave Barry. We went to dinner together. We talked. He really laughed. I thought, I used to not, I mean this. I'd read his stuff. He wasn't very funny. That's one of those guys. He never contacted me again. I emailed him. I, left him a message, never. I'm telling you. And when people say, why don't you know any celebrities or whatever? I really don't understand this. I thought we really had a great time. And I'm not joking. I said, you must come out to California. I'm in New York all the time. I really had a great time. What I mean, he didn't even respond. He might have responded with one word on the, when I texted him, Garrett. Maybe. I'm not joking. I don't get it. And I'm not joking. I don't get it. And when I worked on television shows and, there would be whoever, Ted Danson, or whoever I would work with, as you know, Robin Williams couldn't stand me. It's weird. I mean, you like me, don't you, Garrett?
Yeah, right.
No, but if you were a big star and you were the star of the show, would I bother you?
No. We'd
be pals, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why we wouldn't. You're pretty easy to get to work with, definitely.
Yes, that's what I think also.
Yeah.
It's odd. I don't give anybody any trouble. No, I'm not joking. It really hurts my feelings. I don't get invited to anything. One time, Ted Danson and his wife, Mary Steenburgen, now, Dave, I'm going to include you in this.
Okay.
It had been about 4 or 5 years after I was off of Cheers, right? And, things were going, and I would see him around and say hello. I get a message, literally a message from Ted, to give him a call, right? And I said to my wife, I said, no, I said, that's great. I call him up. He says, Jay, Mary and I are going to be at UCLA. And it was a fundraiser for something or other, right? And he was personally inviting a certain amount of people, $1,000 a head. So I see, I get the invitation on the, he emails me the invitation. It's $2,000 for my wife and I to go to this thing, right? I want to tell you something. I was heartbroken. It was like I'm not joking. I was heartbroken. I didn't go. I'm not paying $2,000. I thought he went, let's go to dinner or barbecue or something. Yeah. $2,000, $1,000 a head. We paid $1,000 a head to meet Bill Clinton.
Oh.
And, we did. Yeah, in Connecticut. And there were frogmen everywhere. And, I've told this story before, but I really did. I didn't know there were frogmen. And I saw bubbles coming up it was dusk. And, I'm not joking. I saw these bubbles and I started almost crawling on my hands and knees. And snuck back to the house, and I reported it to the Secret Service guy. I said, I'm sorry, it's weird, but I saw something, bubbles or something. He says, were you the guy on his all fours out there? I go, yeah. He goes, we got this whole place surrounded. There's frogmen out there. He pointed out there was like a PT boat. I'm not joking. They had him there. And I, like an idiot, I thought I had seen something, dangerous. So here comes Bill Clinton, and we get I'm not kidding you, we had a buffet and everything. He speaks. He was a great speaker. My wife takes a picture with him. He rubbed her back, and I took a picture with him. And I had taken one at Times Square with a cutout of him. And I said, this is the second picture I have with you. I said, the first one was a cardboard cutout of you. And he said, which one was more lifelike? That's what he said to me. And he got a big laugh out of me, and they snapped the picture like that. And he's so tall that I have that in my office, and my hair is all slicked back and everything else, and I look like the Prime Minister of Albania. When he's shaking the hands with some little communist that's come to visit us, I look just like it. Dave, you've been so polite, and you've even laughed politely. Dave, what can I do for you from Fort Lauderdale? Go ahead.
I was watching that guy from Apple, who's, by the way, doing what every other multinational company does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tim Cook. Yeah, he is.
And I was hoping he would just start answering questions like the Obama administration. Oh, I don't know. That's terrible, but I don't know anything about it. I don't even do my own taxes. I'm sure that they didn't know anything about it either.
Well, what did he say? He didn't say that. He said, I'm not breaking the law. We do it.
There's a nice way. The way when you put a tie on $800 shoes and a $1,200 suit, you tell people.
Well, wait a second. Nobody dislikes this guy. Nobody dislikes this guy.
Why should they? He's a CEO of one of the most successful companies in the world. You think runs around pissing people off?
Every one of those people complimented their phone and their iPad and everything else, and then they would question him. It was really odd. Really, Then, of course, Garrett, they get the people up there that are fracking, okay?
Really?
Yeah, they attack them. You know what? You're pouring really hot steam into the rocks, huh? Like that.
You ever play a game with somebody to change the rules because they couldn't win? And then even after they did that, you beat them because you were just better, and then they cry and whine about it? That's what Congress is doing. They're the assholes that made the tax law.
You know what's funny about you, Dave? I bet you that the reaction I'm having to you is kind of the reaction that people that know me have, Garrett. I really don't want to hang with Dave.
Well, I knew right away he wanted money when he called.
There's something really aggravating about you, Dave. I don't know what it is. Do people find you aggravating?
Like I said, as soon as I laughed when you told me who invited you, because I knew right away that if that was me, it would be a fundraiser and they'd want a lot of money.
All right. Well, Dave at Fort Lauderdale, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jay.
God forbid. That's what I sound like. That's got to be it. That's all I can tell you. By the way, Garrett, Chuck Norris has asked the Jaguars to sign Tim Tebow. I'm not joking.
I know, I saw this, yeah.
Well, you should do exactly what he says. I would do like in 2 seconds what Chuck Norris said. But it's weird. He's an evangelical Chuck Norris, I believe. Yeah. And he gave a statement and everything else. And, the boogeyman every night, Garrett, checks his closet for Chuck Norris. I love these shit. Chuck Norris, they once made Chuck Norris toilet paper, but it wouldn't take crap from anybody.
Huh.
I'm no good at this stuff. You know what? I'm no good.
Just the Chuck Norris stuff is kind of...
Well, wait a minute. I got some long ones.
All right.
Chuck Norris sold his soul to the devil for his rugged good looks and his unparalleled martial arts ability. Shortly after the transaction was finalized, Chuck roundhouse kicked the devil in the face and took his soul back. The devil, who appreciates irony, couldn't stay mad and admitted he hadn't seen it coming. And now they play poker every second Wednesday of the month, Garrett.
Wow.
I wrote that this morning. That still doesn't work, does it? It doesn't.
The whole devil and irony thing,
No good. Too long.
Got got lost.
Chuck Norris built a time machine.
All right.
And he went back in time.
Ooh.
And as Lincoln was about to be shot, he jumped in front of the bullet and caught it. Lincoln was so amazed his head exploded. I don't know. That's all I got.
That's a good one.
All right, there you go. Okay, I see you want to talk. We'll do it. Later on, we have a guy coming on who, for some reason, has a PhD and has done a bunch of science work, including proving that Fred Flintstone could not have stopped his car with his feet. Where did this guy go to school, and why did you want to talk about this, Karen?
I'm so excited about this because I
Really?
once tried to stop a car with my feet.
Well, now, wait a minute. Wait a second. We used to go go-karting all the time. Remember go-karts?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
No,
My brother, when he went around a curve, put his hand out. And, of course, ripped open his hand.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, the thing was kind of on two wheels, and he, put his hand out to steady himself. And, just, needed 10 stitches. So.
No, I was rolling down a driveway with the ignition off, but I forgot to put it in park. And
Yes.
it just kept going and going, and I didn't know what to do, so I tried the old Fred Flintstone stop, and it didn't happen, so I leaped
You could
out
have
of the
broken
car.
your leg. It could have
I
been
know, it was
twisted
terrible.
back.
And then the car rolled all the way down across the street into a ditch. The door bent. It was a mess.
One time, Chuck Norris ate an entire ream of rice paper and pooped out origami swans
Wow.
that looked like, and Mr. Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid. I don't know. What's his name?
Miyagi.
I don't know.
Do you know Daniel, Ralph Macchio, is as old as Mr.
He
Miyagi?
is now. Yeah, I saw that too.
Hey, Garrett, way to go. You don't know it either.
Mr. Miyagi.
Well, you screwed it up also.
All right, don't get.
Then later on, Mark Gooley, owner of Huds and Toke. Now, we had a guy on yesterday that fed pigs marijuana. Does this guy do something? Who does he does it. It says here he makes dog treats, not with marijuana, I hope. Come on. Oh, really?
Really?
Huds and Toke. Talking about his tasty dog treats, right?
You're reading incorrectly.
I am?
Yep.
About his tasty what treats?
Nope. Tasty is the wrong word.
About tasting dog treats. He eats them?
Yes, he eats every batch, I guess, to make sure they're good and have a good texture.
He's a dog treat taster? Is that what he does for a living?
Yes. He was part of this world's wackiest job list. I don't know. But the only other
the guy, we had the woman on that smelled under people's arms one time.
Yes, she was one, and then the other guy was, he watches paint dry. They literally paint swatches in front of him, and he sits there and watches how they dry, I guess, to see.
Have you ever had a dog treat before?
Yeah.
I have.
really
They're
dry.
awful.
Yeah, I
Awful.
have
They
too.
taste
They're
terrible.
disgusting.
Horrible. Why would you even want to do that? I mean, dogs lick their butts. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think they have
They
this.
don't have a good sense of taste.
Well, they do. They like it. Tastes good. By the way, do you know that Chuck Norris is suing NBC, claiming that Law and Order are trademark names for his left and right legs?
Oh.
You know what, Garrett? It's your timing. You've messed everything up I've tried to say.
Why?
I don't know why. You jumped in there or something.
This week you went from being way too good to just not good enough.
No, if you tell him he's good, then he just takes advantage. Got all those old Opie and Anthony listeners out there. He's wants to get his own midnight
He's showing
show.
off.
Something, I guess so. I don't know. Let's go to Eric, who's in Wisconsin. Yes, Eric, it's Jay Thomas. Go ahead.
Hi, Jay. Years ago, I was high, and the young lady was high, and she was doing oral sex to me, and I said, hey, I want you to try something. Don't blow too hard, but blow into my dick and see what happens. And I should have never, you could get injured for life. My balls rattled when she did that?
No, they They did not.
Sounds a lot like pull my finger.
What I was going to say is, did they inflate? That would have been the best one.
We have a valve in there that keeps anything from really injuring us. That's
you know what? It's one of these things that's making me move in my chair right now. You know that? You know what? I've never thought about what you just said, but now I'm thinking about it. God, I don't like thinking about it.
Hey, Jay.
What? Chuck
Norris was born May 6th, 1945.
Yeah.
And the Nazis surrendered May 7th, 1945.
Very good.
I don't think so.
I did what Garrett does to you. I ruined your punchline. I'm so sorry. All right, thank you, Eric of Wisconsin. I did it like an idiot. Thank you. Goodbye. Let's go to Mike, who's in Alabama. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Good.
You told that story about Clinton, and I went to, well, I didn't get to attend, but they did that fundraiser on the street I live, and was invited to be one of the peasants to stand outside and maybe shake his hand if he stopped.
Right.
And so while we're waiting, I saw all the dogs checking for bombs, doing the whole thing, and then the caravan showed up, just like you see on the CSI show, the big black, and you see the silhouette, and we're just hoping he's going to come over and say hi. There's like 10 of us. And lo and behold, he does. And I had just got done coaching football, and my son said, what do I wear? Should I dress up? I said, no, just wear your football gear. Maybe he'll come say hi. And he did. It was his shirt. He's very charismatic and couldn't be nicer. Talked to both my sons. Had to say, talk about the shirt. He was wearing one of those Under Armour shirts. He goes, you know where they got that from? And he's telling the big story. He goes, he made millions on this shirt. I'm like, yeah, I've heard that. And then my other son had a little iguana on his shirt, and he didn't want him to feel out of place. He's an 11-year-old. He goes, yeah, I was playing golf with Hillary's brother this morning in Miami, and we saw iguanas everywhere. Just real storyteller, super nice, but didn't have to pay the $1,000 to meet him, so it was kind of cool.
This is what they say about Bill Clinton and Christina, not just the power. And what's funny is, Mike, is I didn't think you were going to tell a good story about him. It is said that when he talks to people, he makes them feel as if he is truly focused on them, and maybe he is, but he is really interested in who they are and what their opinion is. And he did that to you and your kids. Now, did you vote for him? Did you vote for him?
No, I did not.
I didn't think you did.
But, the big Democratic supporter on our street, and he's the president of the United States, and I wanted my kids to be able to, a chance to meet a president.
Now, Mel Brooks was given the a Lifetime Achievement Award at Lincoln Center, and the president gives it to the person, right? The Lincoln Center Award. So George W. Bush was the president, and they offered it to Mel Brooks, and he declined. And he's an old man, he's like, hell, he's almost 90 years old. So when was this? Had to be like, how long has he been president? 7 years now? Something like that? No, 6 years. So he declined like 7, 8 years ago. He said, I'm sorry, I'm not into your politics. And he says, I know I want this award. And then when Obama was elected, they offered it to him again, and he's took it or is going to take it or whatever. I always wondered about that. If you didn't like the president and you got invited to the White House, would you go? Would I have gone if George Bush had invited me to the White House? My wife claims she wouldn't have gone. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Because you make so much fun of the guy, you really dislike him, and all that stuff. I don't know.
Well, I understand what you're saying because, we got a great picture. There was a great picture taken of our family shaking his hand. And people would say, oh, I can't believe you went and saw him. I'm like, it's the president of the United States, no matter what you're talking about.
You got to go see the president. All right, Garrett, would you go? Who didn't you like, Garrett? Who did you not like?
For president?
Yeah, like you just did. He's elected. Didn't like him. Would you go see him?
Yeah.
You would.
I guess Bush was my least liked president, but I would meet him
and
in
you
a
said
second.
things about him. He's starting a stupid war. It's not true. You'd still go visit with him.
In a second.
Would you say, how about this? It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Would you say that?
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be nice.
I would say something, but it would be like this. Hi, how are you? Like that. You know what I mean?
You'd be a little
I would be cordial. Well, no, I'd be more, I would go, yes. Like that. Yes, of course, like that. Hello, I'm George W. Well, yes, of course, you are. Like that. That's what I would do. So that later on I'd say, well, I didn't really, I met him. I went in there.
But you're not giving him any,
props.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And how about this one? Well, look, Christina, pizza. Woom.
Yes.
My favorite president. All right, Mike, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Warren of Canada. Yes,
Jay.
Warren. Did the Flintstones play up? Did they have the Flintstones in Canada?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
Yeah, we had.
By the way, do you know
What about the Jetsons?
when they
Okay.
first built the Great Wall of China, it was originally called Keep Chuck Norris Out.
Didn't know that. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that.
No. It's in the middle of it. You don't do it. Go ahead, Warren.
So Jay Thomas writes a joke about Chuck Norris. The punchline beat the shit out of him. Get rid of me.
Oh, no, I won't. No. You know what? They're not allowed to get rid of themselves. What do you think this is? Suicide phone time? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Give us a call. It's suicide hotline where you get rid of yourself. Let's go to John, who's in Panama City, where I started in radio, doing Rutherford High football at WDLP, way out there on some crazy highway, and went to Gulf Coast Junior College.
How's it
Did you
going?
know that? Did you know all that about me?
I did. I spoke to you numerous times on the phone, and you have that crazy old grandfather that tells the same story every time you talk to him.
I am like the crazy. You're right. If somebody calls up from Jacksonville, I tell them, yeah, that's. But you know what? I don't know who everybody is. You know what I mean? I can't tell. I don't know.
I understand. I forgive you.
But it's embarrassing that you brought that up. But
It's all right. It's all right. Hey, you know that Chuck Norris, he went on vacation to the Virgin Islands a couple of years ago. Now they just call it the islands.
all right, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Idiot. All right. We'll be right back. There we are.
Jay Thomas.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Afternoons. The Jay Thomas Show.
Are you kidding? We were the hot new thing.
Jay Thomas.
Afternoons. Indy Sirius XM 104.
Mike Church has his kids in the studio, but she's in a chair where she's hidden. And I'm saying every horrible curse word a human being can say.
You were purposely trying to say the worst
Nothing.
word you could think of.
Just
for
the joke.
Yeah.
Right. Completely by ourselves, right? Off the air. And he points to, I am so sorry. Uncle Jay doesn't normally talk like that. Oh, she's not even looking at Mike, really? You shouldn't let a child listen to this show. No. You can listen to the show. You shouldn't let a child listen to me privately. Publicly. Oh, I feel awful. No, I'm not kidding. Just awful. Let's go to Bonnie of Long Island. Hello, Bonnie. It's Jay Thomas.
Hey, how are you?
Well,
That is a stupid question to ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say, as I said earlier to whoever answered the phone, that I listen to you in my office all week, and there's plenty of times I want to call, but I can't. So I'm on vacation this week, and I'm listening to you, and just want to tell you how entertaining you are, and I can get through the day much easier listening to you. After Howard, of course.
Now, what do you do for a living? I can't imagine.
Well,
we had a doctor call the other day, a surgeon, said he listens. I'm not joking. Said he listens during neurosurgery. I have to tell you something. I very complimented and everything else. I I don't know that there's any work I believe you can get done and listen to this show. What sort of work do you do?
Industry.
Oh, great. Just great. Really good.
I have to listen to you with a headset because a lot of times when I laugh, people look around to see what I'm laughing at, but it does.
Do you say to them?
Turn it down.
Do you ever say to them, "Oh, I'm just laughing at this guy's credit"? You ever do that?
To the people around me that I work with, no.
Yeah. Oh, you ought to see this guy's credit. Look at this guy like that. Well, thank you very much. Now you're on vacation, but you're staying home. You're on a staycation.
Staycation around the house, cleaning up after
Why is that?
And, well.
Oh, you have to still keep cleaning after the. Was your home? How badly damaged was it?
The basement, we had about 3 feet of water. Not as bad as the surrounding area. I'm near the water, but we weren't affected as bad. But still, the cleanup between the sewer water and the ocean water, it's not.
Now, you're going to stay there? I mean, because I'm from New Orleans, as you know, and I've moved as far away from the lake that hit my mother's house, a 30-foot tidal wave going 100 miles an hour. I said, I think we're out of here with the tidal wave and all that. So I live like right in the middle of town when in New Orleans. Are you going to stay there right near where the hurricane likes to come?
Well, unfortunately, we have nowhere else to go right now. We're pretty much stuck here. Yeah, I like the South Shore. We're near the beaches, but
right. Why don't you tear that house down and live in a pontoon house? I don't understand it. A home that when the water comes, the water goes underneath the pontoons and you float around a little bit, I don't get it. Mm-hmm.
Well, it hasn't happened.
Have you and your husband considered a pontoon home?
No, not my husband. I might consider it.
Pontoon
Not
home.
a pontoon, no. Maybe a houseboat, not a pontoon, no.
They never say that. It's always like they got to rebuild the house. You go, okay, but you're right at the beach. Make it.
Well, the house has been here 100 years already. I'm in a 100-year-old house. It's just in this area. Apparently, it hasn't been affected like this in a long, long time. So. You know the last time it was affected like that? To this magnitude, the way we were hit, I don't think so. No.
You were ready?
Directly on the water. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
No. 101 years ago, when that other house got knocked down, Garrett, they built this one. That's exactly correct.
Thanks for making me laugh, Jay.
So now you're cleaning out poo-poo water and you're cleaning out mold and everything else.
Dried out water.
Dried out water. Right.
I thought I lost my garden, but I didn't. So pretty much tending to that and doing nothing all week.
Well, look, you know what? I'm not here to babysit, okay? I mean, you sound lonely to me. I think you should have gone out of town, and I think you should have had a lot of drinks someplace and had your husband install a pontoon home where you were gone. That's what I think.
I'll tell that.
That's what I think. Yeah, I would say. Well, look, thank you very much, Bonnie of Long Island.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks for bringing us down. Can I be honest? Brought us down. Look, you don't have to hit me too many times with the tidal wave to where I'm gone. I got hit once. I'm out of here. I'm done. I mean, I truly believe this. I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know what's causing all of it. But doesn't it seem, it's weird now, isn't it? It is. The tornado, 40 minutes it went. Did you hear what the teachers yelled at the kids who weren't listening to them? Did you hear what they yelled?
Eat your vegetables?
No.
Oh.
They actually were quoted as saying, "Get over here. I don't want you to die," they said to elementary school kids. I'm not kidding.
What's wrong with that?
No, nothing. That was the signal. I don't want you to die. Who says that? Who says that? But they say
My mother used to, don't go to the park.
No, and it saved the kids' lives. All the little kids gathered around the teacher, and it saved their lives. I don't know. What do you do in a tornado? Some guy told me you're supposed to lie down by a curb, under the curb. Like there's a curb.
How can you
like there's a curb. You lay down, and the curb is next to your shoulder.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it makes it easier for the tornado to suck you up and keep your body in one piece. I don't know what it does. I have no idea. Wow. But they say they did all those tests. They're going to rebuild that place.
But just that exact town's been hit pretty recently, right? Like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's in Tornado Alley. Yeah, it's in Tornado Alley. If you go in California after they have those fires, they always have the fire in the same place. I'm kind of getting against government help. Kind of. Really? I'm sure Bonnie didn't want to hear that. You know. I mean, I did, listen, I got government help after Katrina, but we need New Orleans.
It's a good rationalization.
Yeah, we gotta have that. The drinking, the jazz. You gotta save it. That's what they kept saying anyway. Without New Orleans, there'd be no life. Whatever. That's right. That's, gotta save it. You want to live in a place that the country needs after it's gone. That's what New York City. Hurricane hits that, got to have it back, right?
Yeah.
Like where I was born, Kermit, Texas. I'm not sure that town gets knocked down. They're going to want it back. No one's ever even called up and said, they remember that? I tried to be the Grand Marshal. It was my birthplace.
Yeah.
And they hung up on me. Remember that? The mayor? Yeah. Right. Not so sure I care, I mean, I'd go down and raise money for them. As long as I got on the national news. And, of course, former birth great Jay Thomas here in Kermit, Texas.
Jay Thomas.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
I'm my own man. I'll run this mother the way I want to.
The Jay Thomas Show. Afternoons. The Jay Thomas Show.
On Indy. Sirius XM 104.
Something at the costumers.
Here we are, Barney Boy, costumers. What kind of costume you gonna get?
Well, I'm gonna get something that makes me look tall.
How about another head?
Another one? What do I need 3 of them for? Hey,
There is a controversy about that little clip when he said to Barney, how about another head? There was a group of individuals that pulled that clip out and said, it was some sort of a insult to, I swear to God, some sort of it was like a put down of someone, but
it wasn't in reference to him having 2 heads.
What it is the cartoonist, when a person is a certain height, like when they drew Barney, they made him short. They drew him 2 heads high. That's what they called it. 2 heads high. So it was an inside joke for the cartoonist. That's all it was.
Oh.
But there was some silly controversy. I remember that.
Because it makes it sound like he's talking about his penis head.
3 heads.
Because he's like, I already have 2 heads. Yeah, what do I need a third for?
You see, I didn't understand what the other controversy was. So the head of your penis and then
your head.
Your head. Then another head. 3 heads. No. It's that they drew him 2 heads high. That's so funny that I would, I used to do, every now and again you'll hear one of my cartoon characterizations if you listen to it. Does anybody remember, I think, wait a second, I'm trying to think. I paid Mr. on the Goof Troop. Goofy worked for me. I owned the sludge factory.
Wow.
Come here, Goof. I was the head of the sludge company. I think I was Mr. Sludge. That was my name on Goof Troop. But yeah, that's what it meant. 2 heads. That's what it is. They thought it was some sort of nasty kind of a little slipping it in there, like when the Disney cartoon guys in,
Little Mermaid?
Yeah. They made those, what was it, a castle, Christina? What the hell was that? The phallic symbols?
Phallic castle, yeah.
Yeah, that
phallic
was
castle.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in different movies, too. You can see stuff throughout, like in the clouds and the leaves, the way that it spells stuff out in the leaves in The Lion King. Aladdin, he says at some point, like, all good kids take off their clothes. But he said something so fast that when you slow it down, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a lot of weird little things.
I'm going to tell you something, and we have our guest coming up in a moment, who's going to talk about whether Fred Flintstone can actually stop a car with his feet. Guys with Scientific American, that's what they're doing. What is the deal with the animated pornos? What is that?
Yeah, I'm not into them.
No, I don't think anybody ought to be into them. I think that when you even find out what group is into them, I think they should be arrested. I really do. I think bring them in.
I think it's a way to skirt around pedophilia videos because they have, the kids from the family.
No.
Yeah, it'll be like Bart and Lisa doing it from The Simpsons or Bart.
No, I'm talking about real these animated. They're a man and a woman, and it's a porno. It's not a spoof. It's porno.
Oh, really?
There's a story. Yeah, maybe anime or something like that. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A comic book or a video?
It can be a video or it can be a comic book. Yeah. Weird. Odd.
Oh, like the anime one where they're sticking like octopi places and stuff like that?
No, they're having regular sex.
Oh, I've never seen those. Sounds kind of interesting.
Well, no, they have a storyline or whatever, and it's like a porno, except, they'll have some cartoon stuff in there or whatever. But, yeah. How do you watch that? I'm afraid to watch it. I'll tell you why. Can you imagine? I make fun of it, then, hey.
The spark.
It's pretty good. My wife says, "What's all that ink on your pants?" I don't know. You mean am I pen and ink? I don't know. Let's go to Kyle Hill. Kyle, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You must be wondering who the hell at Scientific American booked me on this show. I happen to be an aficionado of Scientific American. I'll tell you something that I know. It is the oldest published periodical in the United States.
Oh, there you go.
That's right. It's like 150 years or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do? You have Overthink It blog at scientificamerican.com. Is that a paying job for you?
I do get paid to blog. It's kind of just an outlet for me to express, all the geekiness that I have bound up.
Mm-hmm. And so why would you decide that you needed to have Fred, putting his feet out and the heel screeching and smoking and using his feet to stop forward momentum? I don't think any of us, it's a cartoon,
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think any of us really ever wondered if, do you know that when Wile E. Coyote falls 100 feet, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
All right, and it doesn't make a puff of smoke. I mean, it's like, it's nothing that we ever thought was real. What made you decide that this was something you needed to blog about and perhaps even study?
Well, sure. I mean, a lot of questions like this aren't necessarily, raging controversies. For me, they're more of taking a scientific, empirical method, and it's a way to dig a little bit deeper into the canon of your favorite shows and movies, TV shows, comic books, things like that. You have an inkling in the back of your head that he probably couldn't stop this massive rockmobile with his feet. But then, on top of that, you have you then know a little bit about physics, about friction, and you can add to that story. That just makes it a little bit more interesting.
So now you got Fred Flintstone, and you'd have to figure out, from what little I know about physics, you would have to figure out his height and weight, wouldn't you? Because isn't it a force, what is it, force times mass equals something or other, right?
Give me the formula. Give me the formula.
Well, give me the formula, would you please? Give me the formula. What is it?
Sure. So when you're calculating the force of friction, basically how much the road is resisting your motion, whether you're in a car or you're trying to stop a car with your feet, is a product of how rough the road is, which is usually a decimal number, multiplied by how much force or weight is pressing down on that surface. So to calculate how much frictional force would resist Fred's feet going forward, you would need Fred's weight and the weight of his car and multiply that times the roughness coefficient of the road. You can kind of think of it like when you travel in an airplane and you're landing, to find the force of friction of the plane when it hits the ground, you have to multiply the weight of the plane times the roughness of the road, because the wheel is what is screeching along that road and the weight is pressing down on that wheel. So you need those two factors to calculate those things.
How much dope do you smoke?
See, I named my blog Overthinking It precisely because these are the kind of comments.
No, but really, really, when you're completely stoned and you're like looking somewhere and you go, man, I wonder what makes that leaf green.
It's almost exactly like that, except without all the drugs.
Now, wait a second. What does the Rockmobile weigh? How would you decide what the Rockmobile? Because it was rocks. Wait a minute. Were the wheels round? Had they invented the wheel also?
Yeah,
or were they square?
So you look at the Rockmobile, and it's basically a wood frame holding up these giant rock cylinders, and you can think of them as basically large, granite rolling pins. So all you have to do is, calculate the volume of this cylinder, which is, well established from, your classes in calculus and trigonometry. And
wait a minute. You look at the cartoon and you think there is a real number that you can use that's the weight of that Rockmobile? I don't.
Not a real number, but an approximation of the number.
Yeah, guesstimate.
Excuse me. What about if the Rockmobile, which I always thought as a kid, was made of volcanic rock, which has all of that air in it, and you would pick it up sometimes, and you'd say, hey, this rock isn't heavy. Huh? What do you think of that?
I think that if you look at the stone used in the rollers, it doesn't have the classic pitted look that's very porous and that's characteristic of volcanic rock. You'd probably assume it's something more like granite or limestone.
Yeah. Kyle Hill of Scientific American, when's the last time you actually talked to an equal someone on your mental level that, didn't have all the degrees? Well, how long has it been?
It's really not like that at all. I mean, I do have, assigned.
No, I'm an equal. I'm saying I'm an equal to you, man. That's why I got you here. I get you, Kyle.
It's really just about using the methods of science and, objectivity.
How much does the Rockmobile weigh? Give me a number, please.
So if you take the large stone rolling pins, you take the density of granite times the volume of what I assumed to be the size of these things, you would get about a 2,000-pound Rockmobile, and that includes the weight of Fred. I'm putting him at about 200 pounds.
And what about when Barney's in the car with him? Do you add like 80 pounds? What do you add for Barney? Because he was only 2 heads high.
Funny thing, if you think the 2 head thing is a little bit gross, there is an animal that has a penis with 4 heads on it.
Ooh. Well, you must be watching some of the anime porno, but I saw that one last night. That's a good one. And the 2 Chinese guys come in and they attack it with the two Korean prostitutes. I love that one.
The human spectrum of
you know what it's called? Enter the 4-headed dragon, Garrett. It's a goodie. I'm sorry, Kyle. What did you say now?
I was just finishing up on your point. So if the limiting factor here is not how far we can take it. What if Fred's whole family was in the car? What if Dino was in the car? It turns out it doesn't really matter, because if you just take him and the car together, the force of friction that you would apply to your heels to try to stop the car would almost certainly wear down your legs to the knee.
What sort of, like when they say women wear high heels, they say there's 5,000, pounds per square inch or something on that heel, something crazy. What would be the pressure, I guess, in weight that Fred would at least try to exert to stop the 2,000-pound Rockmobile?
Sure. Well, when you consider it kind of with the equations, it's basically like...
What's the equation? I need the equation, please.
Like Fred's feet is just an extension of the car. Just basically, his foot is the brake here. So the force he's applying is his weight plus the car's weight down on the ground, which is about 2,000 pounds. To do a pressure calculation, you divide that by the surface area of his heels. Something like that.
How long would it take him to stop the car going? I mean, how fast could he go moving his feet? Like what, 1 mile? How fast? It couldn't be going very fast, you know?
Yeah, so I gave Fred the benefit of the doubt here. You would need, the quads of a god to get this car going up to, highway speeds. It weighs a full ton. But, he's not going to go 50 miles an hour, but to make it an efficient way to travel, he's not going to go 1 mile an hour either, because then he might as well just walk. So I gave him an arbitrary 25 miles per hour. At that speed, slamming his heels into the ground, assuming that they didn't just come off of his body, he'd stop in about 30 feet.
Wow. Other great articles that Kyle Hill has written on Overthink It blog at scientificamerican.com is Superman explains why he didn't destroy the Russian meteor. You have that in there, right?
Yeah. So I got exclusive. I got an exclusive interview with Superman, and when the Russian meteor went over Chelyabinsk in Russia a couple months ago, it burned up and expended most of its energy in the atmosphere. And a lot of people were wondering, I'm being completely facetious here, a lot of people were wondering why Superman didn't just go up and destroy the thing instead of letting it burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. And the physics behind that is that if you let the energy dissipate, overall, it's much less damaging. I mean, there was thousands of people hurt, buildings were destroyed in Chelyabinsk. But if you were to release all of the kinetic energy, which is how fast the meteor is going, multiplied by how much it weighs, basically, if you were to release all that energy at once, it would be equivalent to a large atomic bomb.
Do you think there's anyone that responds to your Overthink It blog at scientificamerican.com that doesn't wear horn-rimmed glasses? Is there anyone that responds to you that doesn't have those big, dark kind of,
What are you saying?
The trick is taking, some of these scientific concepts and using something fun to make it relatable. I think.
I'm suing him. I wear glasses. That's discriminatory. No, Kyle, I love talking to guys like you. I have friends like you. Because, any guy that can sit around and think the coefficient of friction, the ratio of the force friction provides and the weight pressing down on the surface and then putting that to Fred's feet, to me, if I was with you now, I would be hugging you right now.
Sure, and the fact that a lot of these posts do well kind of makes it seem to me that a lot of people like to nerd out just as much as I like to.
Let's go to Russ of Pittsburgh. Russ, we've been listening to Kyle Hill from Overthink It blog at scientificamerican.com. Have you enjoyed the interview up to this point?
No. I would like to make a very polite, loyal listener request that we get rid of this guy.
Now, wait a minute now. Hold it a minute. Kyle, I'm on your side, Kyle. Don't worry. You know what, Russ? You're too, you know what? Why don't you, who's on against us, Garrett? Give him someone to listen to.
No, I mean, you're doing you're digging, man. And
but it's Kyle that I'm focused on.
Oh, you're right. Kyle. It's Kyle.
Now, the next time you watch the Flintstones, and I mean this, Russ, what will you be thinking about? And I'm not kidding. What's the first thing and the thing that will come into your mind for the rest of your life? And what will you say to the people in the room? Go ahead, Russ. Tell them.
Fucking Kyle.
No, you won't. No, you won't. No. You know what you'll say? Hey, you know what? You'll say to them, you go like this. Hey, you know how much pressure it would take for Fred to stop the Rockmobile? Garrett, you know good and well. That's what people, yes, sir.
No, you know
Thank
what?
you.
I think I might
Get rid of Russ. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. You see, Kyle, I don't just know the physics of things. I know the psychological things. Okay?
You know how to handle these guys. I like that.
I do. Let's go to John in Massachusetts. The phones are ringing off the hook. A lot of them we don't want to take.
Well, I just usually delete those kind of comments, so, you know.
John of Massachusetts.
Yes. I was just wondering if he's ever contemplated the weight of the rack of ribs, how much it would weigh in order to tip the car over when they get to the drive-in.
Or he could use the weight of the ribs to figure out the weight of the car.
With Dino's head popping out the top.
Yes.
Top heavy.
A lever fulcrum type of...
This is my favorite sentence from your blog. Fred moves his wheels under his own power, but I wouldn't guess he could go too fast. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Well, Kyle, thank you very much. For those of you that are interested in stuff like this, like I am.
Like the coroner's report at Weekend at Bernie's. What happened to the dead guy? Yeah.
Wait a minute now. Did you do that one, the coroner's report from Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes,
did you do that?
Did.
Wait a second. This is great. You know? Andrew McCarthy's such a great actor now. He writes for travel magazines. That's what he does for a living. I did his last movie called Snatched, about a man that goes in for a for a hernia operation, and when he wakes up, it's been screwed up, and he's been given a vagina. And I'm his attorney. I'm not joking. I did that movie. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. And when I see the operation, you know what I say? I smell money. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be line.
I smell money like that. So, Kyle, what do you think of the autopsy report of Weekend at Bernie's? What were your conclusions?
Well, I concluded, we're not quite at the kind of things that we see in CSI with, the science of death yet, but there are a lot of changes that occur even within the first 24 hours of you dying. And when you see Bernie throughout the movie, it goes through at least 24 hours after his death. And, the kind of things that happen, the blood loss that would all pool to his feet, making him deathly pale. He would start decomposing immediately. All of these things would make him disgusting, basically. So I concluded in my analysis that the other two accomplices here were radically altering his body, either by applying electric shocks to it to prevent rigor mortis, applying copious amounts of makeup to cover the paleness, and bug spray and perfume to cover the stench, and the insect infection that would immediately follow somebody's death. So there's a couple problems with the movie, so I took kind of a fun approach with a fake coroner's report to it.
I don't think that the writers of that movie really would have wanted you in the room with your, your contrarian attitude about, whether it was bullet. Now, I'm going to give you a little, I don't know the actor's name that played Bernie, but I was with the circus. I ate fire and I let people, I laid on a bed of nails, which you know how to do, I'm sure, and I let a guy hit.
That's all about pressure too, like you were saying.
Yeah. I did that.
Bernie is Terry Kaiser.
Terry Kaiser. So I'm at the circus, and I'm working the circus and everything else, and my kids come to see me at the circus and stuff. And one day they bring in the live animals into, I want to say like Staples Center in Los Angeles. It was like a big deal. And Terry Kaiser comes running in, helping bring the lions in. I mean, they were kind of naked of any protection. They kind of ran them in and put them into a big casing. It was kind of wild. He was there with the lions. And so I go over to him, and I really, somebody said what his name was, like Christina. I said, "Hey, man, how are you? Jay Thomas." He goes, "Oh, yeah, hi, how you doing?" I said, "Wow, what are you?" He says, "This is what I do now. I've always wanted to be around lions and tigers." Can you Google him, Garrett, and see if they say that about him? I am telling you the truth. That's what I saw him doing.
Hey, and all your passion, right?
I guess you wanted to be, around lions and tigers. So that was Terry Kaiser. Well, Kyle Hill, thank you very much. The autopsy was terrific. The Fred Flintstone. What are you working on right now? What will people see at Overthink It blog at scientificamerican.com?
Well, I have two things. One, I just published an analysis of the ramifications of Portland choosing not to fluoridate its water. But on the more lighter side, if you're going to the movies this weekend, for Star Trek Into Darkness, I suggest that you stay away from the drinking game going around social media, which is to take a sip of alcohol every time you see a lens flare. Based on the number of lens flares in the last movie, you would die from alcohol poisoning in about 45 minutes.
I heard there's not as many in the new one.
Wait a minute. When you say a lens flare, you mean a mistake by the people shooting the movie?
Actually, they're intentional lens flares to make it look kind of like a sci-fi effect, created with mirrors and extra flashlights and things. It's kind of the signature of the new series of Star Trek movies.
Mm-hmm. How comfortable is your mom's basement?
It's pretty good.
I mean, you have a couch down there and the whole deal?
Is it damp down there?
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. Hey, Christina. Now, I love guys like Kyle. I don't know what Kyle looks like. We don't bring pictures up,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Would you find a guy like Kyle? I mean, I would pick him for you, to be honest.
You would?
I would. You see what I mean, Kyle? It's, to me, if I was a woman, I'd be really attracted to you. See?
Is it getting uncomfortable for you yet, Kyle?
No. And what's sad is there's Christina, who's lovely, by the way, and not the brightest pepperoni on the pizza. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Big laugh.
See,
you know what I do?
That's what I don't like about Kyle. He's judging me already.
I'm not judging. I am laughing based on the fact that you are acknowledging that though I sound like a complete dork, I do not look like one.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you weigh 125 pounds, glasses, and you're 5'9".
You do have the picture of me, right?
No, I have not seen a picture of you.
Oh. No, I'm about 150. I'm a semi-professional rock climber, and I do not wear glasses.
Wow.
What about contact lenses?
No contact lenses.
So semi-professional means that you've fallen a few times?
Well, local competitions, those kind of things.
I see. All right.
Oh, you're not
Kyle,
the American professional.
Kyle Hill.
I am changing the concept of what a nerd should be.
Oh, you're handsome. Yes, you are very handsome.
Are you single?
You're pretty handsome.
Are you single?
I am not single.
Because I was gonna give Christina my credit card and have you guys would go out for a nice meal.
You can still give me your credit card.
No,
to take Kyle with
no.
Fun fact, Jay. My girlfriend is a professional manga artist, and she has done some typesetting for those hentai pornos that you can't seem to wrap your head around.
Your girlfriend makes those pornos?
She hasn't made any or drawn any. She has just moved the text around for some extra money on the side, but I do have a keen awareness of what they are.
Well, you're busy in the back with the four-headed, the four-headed penis or whatever he just said. I don't know.
Just follow wherever your curiosity takes you. That's my philosophy.
I'm not joking. I've been a subscriber. My dad was a subscriber to Scientific American. I love Scientific American. I know people think I'm odd. I don't know. I'm not a big science guy. I don't understand most of the articles, but I read them anyway. Kyle Hill it's called Don't Overthink It, basically, right?
Overthinking it. And thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this stuff with people who will listen.
All right. Thank you, Kyle Hill.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I think the laugh hurts his look, Garrett. It's the laugh.
That was the one thing, yeah.
Yeah, the laugh. By the way, many people, are saying, you've already started the science thing. Can you move into the medical side? Yes, I can. Give us a call right now at Sirius Indy. It's a big, long number. Let's go to Danette. Danette, what sort of surgery would you like to discuss with me? I've just discussed.
Yes, I love that conversation. I am probably less smart than Christina. You can probably say I am the dumbest pepperoni in the pizza box.
Really? Now, why would you put yourself down like that? Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's okay for Jay to put me down, but it's not okay for you to put yourself down.
Well, obviously, you're smarter. I wouldn't say it. Everything I say is with love. Everything I say is with love. I love that, Garrett. A guy insults you, you're crying, you go, I was kidding. I didn't. Oh, my God. I don't think you're, even though you shop at Abercrombie and Fats, I think you're beautiful. It's my new store. Yeah.
I say that because I did not understand any of the math stuff, but I could totally picture Fred's feet being ground down to his kneecaps. I could get that. I could visualize.
Now, you call during the medical portion of the show. What is the surgery question?
Did you have your hernia surgery?
Oh, yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
Was it excruciating? Was it horrible?
No, I was hypnotized, and they put me under hypnosis, and then they just stuck a little straw in there, and that's all they did. Have you tried hypnosis?
I have not.
Then one time I was wide awake, and they used acupuncture, and I let them cut me wide open with acupuncture, and I didn't feel a thing. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, no, I did not have either one of those medical miracles, no.
I see. Right. What did you have? They just ripped you open?
Well, let's see, the first week.
Are we really going to talk about this woman's hernia surgery? That's just unbelievable to me.
We are.
We are. I guess that's
I had a hysterectomy.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I had a hysterectomy. Then the second week of April, I went and had a hernia surgery, but it was across my abdomen, right in my belly button.
Really?
And so now I have medical mesh in my belly to make sure that the hernia doesn't happen again, because it's in an area where it tends to happen a lot, and especially your stomach wall weakens when you push out children. So I can thank my children for having medical mesh in my body now. So it's
wow. Well, you know what? The science portion of our show is over, Garrett. We only have 7 seconds till the bottom of the hour. Danette, thank you very much. You've been listening to Science Thursday, an exclusive feature of the Jay Thomas Show that I'm pretty sure you will never, ever hear again.
The Jay Thomas Show. Afternoon.
Jesus. What idiots.
Indy. Sirius XM 104.
Take that music completely out. We can't have that. X Games champion Travis Pastrana, as you well know, leaped from an airplane without a parachute. And if you think that's crazy, Travis has done a lot of nutty stuff. He jumped his rally car 269 feet onto a barge. What's his latest feat? Racing a 650 horsepower Roush Fenway stock car and using, of course, the racing formulation of Valvoline motor oil with next-gen technology made with 50% recycled oil. Valvoline NextGen is specially designed for today's hotter-running engines. So it looks like recycling just got badass. To see more, thank you, from Travis and Valvoline NextGen, go to the youtube.com/Valvoline, 50% recycled oil. Make the switch right away to Valvoline with NextGen technology. It's better for the environment, great for your engine, and that's that Valvoline with NextGen technology. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. And Christina, that's what is it?
Badass.
Yeah. Like naughty little kids at elementary school. I said badass.
Badass.
I said badass. Yeah. You know what? Turn this up, please. Turn it up. I know this is a great song, but they sing like that. I could sing like this, but if you came to see me, if I said, hey, come see me tonight, and I'm on stage and I'm going, you'd go, what's he doing? What's he doing? Really? Really? Right? Am I wrong?
Like a cartoon voice, he couldn't replicate it, you're saying?
No, it's a silly way to sing. That when his friends came to hear him sing, they must have gone, oh my God, what is that? It's like, what do you think Tom Waits' friends thought the first time they heard him sing? Well, I go get some junk at the junkyard. I'm thinking, strangers like it. Let's turn it up. I know the reason why. Like that. I don't know. I would be in the crowd if I didn't know this guy, and he's just, I go, man, Charlie's weird. What the hell's that all about? Thank you. The Cleveland Cavaliers were so excited they got the lottery. They got the first pick in basketball. Garrett, did you see the picture of the owner and his son? Is it on the front page or is it anywhere you can find it?
No, I haven't heard anything about this.
Really strange. The dad looks like a carnival barker. He's got on a red jacket suit with a big red bow tie. And he's hugging his son, who is the nerdiest looking, like 13-year-old kid. Horn-rimmed glasses, a red bow tie like his dad, and a suit. I want to tell you, good thing he's rich. He's going to need a bodyguard. I mean,
it looks like they've won the golden ticket to get into Charlie's Chocolate Factory, like from that time period.
Really weird. Now, of course, the guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and the kid will be worth hundreds of millions too. But that's a kid that if he was in a normal world, oh man, that bow tie and that jacket would be in a mud puddle. Oh yeah, I would have led them too. Someone said to me, "Were you a bully?" No, I was the second to last guy picked on, and there was always like one guy below me. And I picked on him. But I was picked on. Now, I wrestled in high school. And I had taken judo and stuff. And I played football and everything else. And so I blew my knee out. So I don't know, for some reason I could wrestle and my knee was okay. But playing football and all that. So I joined the wrestling team, and I'm actually pretty good at the wrestling. But I was unorthodox. Like I would run out, and this is, high school wrestling, college wrestling, right, Garrett? 3-minute rounds, right? I would run out. You never went to a high school wrestling meet?
Never.
Oh, it's terrific. They're great. I'm not kidding you. You talk about leverage and friction.
Not my thing.
Well, I would run at the guy, and I would act silly, and I would name the round I was going to pin him in. Of course, that was ridiculous. Right, like 3 rounds, So we had helmets on and everything else. So one guy was so nervous, I literally ran over him and got him down, which is a takedown, and he takes his palm like he's supposed to, and he puts it on my chin with his fingers away from my face. The referee is looking down at his shoulders, which he's got up, and I yell, my eyes, the kid believes me, lets his hand go from my chin, and I pin him, like boom, 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 like that. Fastest pin in the state. I'm not joking. I win another couple of matches, and a couple of guys get sick, and the next thing you know, I'm in the city finals. And I believe I wrestled at 147 to 154. I'm not kidding. And we had a really great wrestling team.
Did you have gross cauliflower ear and ringworm?
No, I didn't wrestle for years. When I was in junior high school, there was a guy named Glenn Garandolfo, and we hung together, he and I. We hung together. He was the last guy. And when someone picked on me, I picked on Glenn. I mean, he was my friend, but then I would turn on him.
He was your punching bag.
And it hurt his feelings, and it upset him. And I'm not joking, everything else. So I get out of junior high, and I go on to this high school, and I don't know where he lives or what he's doing. And so now I'm a senior in high school. Garrett, there was a guy named the Wolfman who wrestled at West Jefferson High School, and people talked about him like he was the second coming of the greatest high school wrestler ever. And so I get matched up with him. And I mean, the coach is saying, man, this guy is really tough. And we're working on it all week long, super, 150 pounds like me. But I'm thinking, I've been doing great. I look across the mat. I'm not joking. This guy was hunched over like a Neanderthal with his hair combed back, and his chest was so, defined that he hunched over. It was Glenn Garandolfo. I am not joking. You can't write this. I look across the mat, and nobody knew. They called him the Wolfman. I see this guy that I really picked on. And there we are. And I'm not joking. We came out to the middle, and I go, Glenn, like that. And he looked at me with the hatred you cannot believe. Yes. So they give us instructions. We move away. And in high school or college wrestling, you grapple with each other. You kind of you tie up and all that. He was so strong. He was so rough. He had me 11-1. 11-1. He had lifted me, Garrett, throwing me. The one point I got was I escaped out of his arms like a girl running from a kidnapper, okay? And you get 1 point for escaping. When I came back into the ring, 11-1, he lifted me up, held my shoulders on the ground with my feet over his shoulders, and the most embarrassing pin in the state of Louisiana. I'm not kidding. Glenn Garandolfo. And you know what's funny? He didn't talk to me afterward. It was awful. It was embarrassing. Everything else. That happened to me. I mean, I picked on him. And he became, and I'd done the same thing. I'd kind of turned on some guys. Yeah. Beat the crap out of him. Wow. The Wolfman. Glenn. As soon as I said Glenn, he had me. How could he be my size and be so much stronger than me?
Yeah, I don't know.
No matter what I did, like that, he had me. Let's go to Bill, who's in Cleveland. Bill, who is the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers? What's the name of the owner?
Gilbert and his son.
I'm sorry, say it again. What's his name?
Dan Gilbert from Quicken Loans.
He owns Quicken Loans. And all kidding aside, that little boy, that had to be the worst picture. If I went to school with him and he wasn't a billionaire, he would get a beating as soon as he got back to the school.
And that's why I was called. I think his son, Garrett, I'll have to look it up. His son did it 3 years ago and got the number 1 pick. And then this year, I think his son suffers from some serious disease or there's some problems. So I just
my God. Now I feel awful.
So I just want to give you a heads up so you didn't pick
my God, I feel absolutely awful.
So with that, I'm not positive what it is, but it is something that's serious, and that's why they had let him 2 years ago.
Now, you know what? I off mic, I cursed over here, and a little girl accidentally heard me. I did not read about that. I was wondering why it was. I feel thank God I'm not in Cleveland. Well, I am in Cleveland. Let me apologize to the family and everything else. Certainly, I wouldn't do anything to that.
So the bow tie you made fun of that we.
Well, now he's laughing. Yeah,
he'd stick his bow tie in the mud. Well, he wore the bow tie as a mean of raising awareness for neurofibromatosis, a generic nerve disorder that's battling his entire life.
I am so embarrassed.
I just figured I'd give you a heads up before you went too far
thanks.
with it.
Oh, no. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for stopping me.
Thanks a lot.
Well, quit laughing.
Maybe you could buy a Gilbert-approved bow tie and donate directly to the Children's Tumor Foundation.
I am going to today. I'm not joking. There's only one way to get over the bad karma that I just did. I got to buy a bow tie. How much?
It just says you could donate to the charity. Oh, here we go. 2012picnic.com.
Okay. All right. I'll buy one. My God. I feel awful now.
The thing is, in that picture, he looks like
fine.
Regular. In every other picture I see of him on the internet, you could tell there's a little something wrong. Not in a bad way, but you can.
Well, when you go to USA.com, he looks perfectly fine. They should put something on there. Don't make fun of this kid. He's ill.
What's not to like about a happy-go-lucky teenager who's managed to stay positive through losing vision in one of his eyes, undergoing brain surgery, and enduring multiple rounds of chemotherapy, on top of endless stirring of doctor's appointments, endless strings, doctor's appointments and visits to the hospital.
Oh, God. I am going to buy 2 bow ties. Really. My goodness. Garrett, edit this out of the replay. Okay, I mean it. I'm not joking. Don't let this replay. Can you do that? Can you get a little slice and dice? You have to. Garrett, this can't run. He can't run. It's terrible. It's I made a mistake.
Well, it's all right. You're allowed to make mistakes.
No, it isn't. I feel awful. I don't even know what to go to next. Where do you turn after that? You know what? Let's go to a hero story from Cleveland. How about that?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Remember Charles Ramsey, the man that claims he took, busted the door down and got the kidnapped women out of there? Christina, every hamburger joint in Cleveland will let him eat for free.
Everyone? Is he single?
First of all, they're going to get sick of him, okay, and his friends. But not only the McDonald's, but all of these hamburger joints have said if he comes in and if they identify him, that's it.
It's not like he found the girl.
He beat the door down.
Garrett,
not really.
Amanda Berry,
credit that
Gina
he deserves.
Gina DeJesus and Michelle Knight will never forget him, ever. Whenever they drive by a McDonald's.
Or the Spanish man that can't speak English that actually kicked the door down and saved them.
Taco Bell says he can have a free burrito when he goes in there. He can do whatever he wants to. Yeah. Even though his profanity-flecked retellings were an embarrassment to certain people, but he really did. He really did kick in the door and allowed the woman and the child to climb out. That's why he's the hero. He kicked it in. He can go to anywhere he wants to go. Have a hamburger. Just walk in.
In Cleveland, I guess?
Well,
please, if
yes,
he comes
in Cleveland.
to any establishment and they don't recognize him and give him a free burger.
In a year from now, people will be like, who are you? There'll be 3 other kidnap casings.
Not in Cleveland. They'll know him in Cleveland forever. Charles Ramsey, forever. They'll know him.
Yes.
And after what I said about that little kid, they'll never forget me either.
$30 for a Cleveland Cavaliers bow tie.
I'm buying 2 of them, and I'm not joking. People say that, and then, the thing's over and all. I have to buy 2 of those. Was embarrassing. Now it makes sense. They usually don't expose their kids like that.
A nerve disorder that causes tumors to grow throughout the body at any time.
All right. I got it. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to buy 2 ties. You know what? And you and I are going to wear them. I'll tell you why. Because you keep reading about it just to dig the knife in me. You are so jealous of me. If you didn't have that overstimulated saliva gland, you'd probably be a broadcaster. Oh, I heard a guy today go, "Hey, happy birthday." I thought of you. Happy birthday. Yeah. Garrett. A woman bragged about hitting a cyclist, Christina, on Twitter. You read this, I think. Did you send this to me?
Yes.
I can't say her name. I don't know. Is it a real person? Emma something? Anyway.
Yeah, it's a British woman.
Definitely knocked a cyclist off his bike earlier. I had the right of way. He doesn't even pay a road tax. They arrested her. You think Chris Hansen will do undercover tweets when you come in there and he's got you? Hey, did you tweet about killing a guy?
Well, that's how they caught her.
From Baton Rouge, Jay, did you hear about the guy that pleaded for help after jumping on the hood of a moving truck in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Is that a real story where a woman, not only video, but there's audio of this guy yelling? I don't know if I believe it, is the problem.
Yeah, the article is BRZ.com.
That's the TV station.
TV, yeah, that's...
So it's a real story.
They reported it
All right,
yeah.
Let me hear it. The guy's on the hood, and a woman is videoing.
Call the police for me.
What's going on?
He ran me over and jumped on the hood. Call the police for me.
Okay.
Come on. He stole.
Okay.
What happened?
He ran me over. Just call the police, baby.
Just riding on the truck.
They're going like 40, 50 miles an hour, and he's just laying down on his stomach on the front on the hood of the truck, yeah. Being polite. Just call 911 for me, baby.
All right, she says.
Yeah, she didn't flip out either.
I don't know if I mean, that just seems so unbelievable.
Didn't this also happen not too long ago with a hit and run? Somebody hit somebody's car and the guy jumped out and jumped onto the hood and they were flying down the highway and somebody was just videoing it, just a bystander.
I don't remember. I remember the homeless guy that the woman hit that stuck into her windshield.
An Asian man that was...
She drove many miles with him, drove home.
Parked in a garage.
She did, with the guy stuck in the windshield.
Going, help me, get me out of here. And she just closed the door and went to bed.
My God. And died. Yeah, the guy died. Stuck in the windshield. I got to tell you, you know. Wow. Let's go to Harold on line 3. Yes, Harold, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay, this is Harold. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, my cousin works in Cleveland, and I'm not kidding you. Charles Ramsey came in to Burger King. I'm not kidding you.
Mm-hmm. And did he get a free burger?
I'm actually kidding you, Jay. My cousin doesn't work in Cleveland.
All right, get rid of this guy. Why did you do that to me, idiot? Dear Jay, you read about the teacher suspended for allegedly touching a girl with a banana during a sex lecture. No, Florida, Christina, local teacher.
Yeah.
He finally returned to his duties after his unpaid suspension for allegedly touching a female student with a banana. Garrett, do we have the audio of the local TV?
Suspended after an incident in class. One student says crossed the line. That girl says she was inappropriately touched by a teacher with a banana. Good evening, I'm Gard Swanson.
And I'm Lauren Rowe. This case is bizarre. The girl says the whole class was right in the middle of a discussion when things got strange. It happened at North Marion High School in Citra, just east of US 301. Local 6's Sean Chaibot is live at the school tonight. So, Sean, this was a psychology class. He was talking about Freud. Why did he have a banana in his hand in the first place?
Why do you think?
Well, Lauren, I just talked to a district spokesperson about this, and apparently the teacher was using the banana as a prop in that Freudian psychology lecture. According to the district, the discussion was okay, but touching was not. On his Facebook page, Jonathan Hampton says he's taught at North Marion High School since 2007 and was once Teacher of the Year. But what a female student says he did with a banana took him off the job for 3 days. According to his discipline letter, Hampton rubbed a student's head and neck area with a banana during a lecture about cylinder objects, phalluses, and or sex symbols.
That is disgusting. Very disgusting.
Well, this will make them forget, the Cleveland incident, Garrett. Okay. If you want to know what a dog biscuit tastes like, it's the Jay Thomas Show. That's right. I was really embarrassed. I'm not kidding.
The afternoon show. We will say what you are thinking.
What can I say? The guy's good.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Jay Thomas.
Indeed.
Sirius XM 104.
In a few minutes, a little while we'll have the guy on who, there are these odd jobs. We've had him on before. This guy tastes dog treats and chews. And you know what? Why would they have a human doing it? It doesn't make any sense, but
because the dog can't tell you if it's disgusting.
No. Well, it's not disgusting to a dog. A dog will dig up, a decaying animal and eat on it.
They also will eat their own poop.
Yeah. Right. Dear Jay, this is from jthomasshow@gmail. I actually snotted my own self when you began the bit about I'd love to be a mid-level bureaucrat. I don't know if that was snot-worthy or not, but I would be. I would be the guy you hate at DMV. I would be that guy, This comes from Robert. Jay, it seems like the shows have been better recently. The Jodi Arias coverage, your movie idea with the older lady used to be really fine, and laughed out loud at your joke about Chinese kids who turned Western utensils upside down and tried to make them into chopsticks. I got to write some of these down. What was that about? She came on talking about chopsticks, right? And I said, if you gave Chinese kids utensils, they'd turn them into chopsticks. I said that.
Yeah, you said give Chinese kids 2 forks and they'll turn them over and use them as chopsticks. I remember you saying that.
I wish I didn't black out after the show. That's funny stuff.
Yeah, I guess it is. Can't even believe I said it. I cannot believe I even, that even came out of my mouth. That's thought-provoking, isn't it? The other day you had a guy on. Yeah, you know what? That guy that came on who had thrown the cell phone is some kind of big libertarian blogger guy. And then he's an opera critic also. He was the guy that said after the senator, the representative Gabby Giffords, being shot in the head by a lunatic does not give anyone special grace to pronounce upon public policy questions. Wow. Like a big, so that he was kind of snooty, wasn't he? I mean, he was okay, but he was snooty. He was, better than we were on some level. Smarter. Even the smart guy that came on.
Pepperoni on the pizza.
No, but this guy that came on earlier, even though he's incredibly smart. Okay? This is from George. I'm from England. I listened to a lot of radio. I didn't know who you were. I went and looked at your bio. I'm very impressed. But you always talk about the money that you missed out on. The thing is, all the things you've done, all your achievements, don't they make up for any amount of money that you could spend? No. No.
You didn't even think about it.
No, I didn't. You know what I thought about immediately? I mean, right off the top of my head, who's making like $50 million a year, who has no talent at all, and is a complete and utter zero.
Ryan Seacrest?
Thank you. That's what I was thinking of.
Yes.
It's like, and when you hear him on the radio, he's like, a cutesy pootsy DJ. It's like, are you kidding?
Save some jobs for the rest of us, please. He's got to have his hand in every single thing. It drives me crazy.
I mean, this guy is not what you could, and that guy, John Probst, is a real problem for me.
Jeff.
Jeff. Yeah, him too. I think he thinks he's great. He's always writing a movie or something. Dear Jay, on Monday's show, this got some Nick. You asked why websites like Facebook, did I say this yesterday, don't charge a normal fee?
Yes.
Or something? Okay. So a penny was too little, right? Okay. So the credit card thing would charge, right? Bitcoins is what I should have said, Garrett. Bitcoins. Huh?
Yeah.
This is from Jeffrey. You said that Dr. Murray, was it Conrad, whatever his name is?
Yep.
$9,000 a month is what he was getting paid to take care of Michael Jackson. You think that's big money? Yeah, I think that's big money. For one patient? 9 G's? I think he was still seeing other people. That was just his contract with Michael Jackson. I don't think he slept in the room with him. Came over, knocked him out, got $9,000. I would do that. This is from Robert. Yesterday, your interview with the pig guy was going over almost as good as Kevin Bacon's. Rod, Jay, my wife and I listen in the afternoons. We listen every day. Good storyteller. You've surrounded yourself with some very funny and intelligent people. Christina is honest and loves to laugh.
True.
Garrett is prepared and informed without being intrusive.
Also true.
Huh?
Wow.
Sometimes.
I guess he didn't listen to the Chuck Norris part.
No, he did not. Did not. Alan says, what's more likely, Jay, Ira losing at the casino or a logger drinking a lager? I like that. Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City, he was a forward for the Thunder. He is. Did he give money? I believe he gave some money also to tornado victims. He's been in the news quite a bit.
Yeah,
His
$1 million.
tattoos, yeah, all over his body, in his midsection, everywhere. A large piece on the back so that his skin is barely visible. And there's a word, he has mature on a recent tattoo, but they misspelled it. It's M-A-U-T-R-E instead of M-A-T-U-R-E. Somebody misspelled it. And so people are noticing it now. He plans on covering it with the full Bible scripture from James 1, 2 through 4. It'll read, consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. Is that from the Bible? Doesn't sound like it's from 2,000 years ago, does it? So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. This isn't what scripture is this? Who wrote this? James Johnson? I don't know who this guy is. He's going to put all of that all over his back? Come on. Oh, the guy that invented Cliff Notes. He invented them on this date in 1953. My dad said he knew him, but didn't like to cheat off of him in school because he didn't make good grades.
Was his name Cliff?
It was Cliff's Notes. That's what he did.
I mean, now his whole thing is pointless.
Because of the internet?
Yeah. You can go to Wikipedia and look up any book, and it gives you the summary and an extended summary if you want, the character breakdowns.
My GPA would have been so much higher if I lived in the time of internet.
Oh my! Yeah, I don't know how you do homework.
I was in college and didn't have my own computer. I can't even imagine a day like that now.
Yeah, we had dial-up.
You know what? I have to tell you, I have trouble looking things up. I still have, a dictionary and a thesaurus and stuff by me. I'm so bad at the computer, it's sometimes faster for me to look it up.
I can't
in a dictionary. That. I have to figure, I must not have the right program or something. I don't know. I gotta maybe add, whatever I touch breaks. I've been working, the coffee maker thing where you put the cup in there and you do it. I used it 3 times here in Mike Church's studio. Broken. Done. and he looks at me weird like, oh, it's been working for, 10 months. I made, broken. I don't know. I just did what I was supposed to. The light was gone. I know. Nuts. And here's what I hate. When I've set something up or paid to have it set up and someone touches it electronically. My wife moved some furniture and unplugged the TV. That behind the TV is all of the computer modem stuff and the Blu-ray. Oh, my God. And then plugged it back in. Guess what? I went to watch Game of Thrones, the rerun, right? Sorry, no signal. Off the air. I'm calling Cox Cable. They're reloading, rebooting. Oh, it was horrible.
Were you on the phone when you were like, oh, it's unplugged?
Please. No. She plugged it back in. And it didn't work for 2 days. I don't know why. And I was having real trouble She said, look, I moved the furniture, I moved the whatever it was. I had to unplug that to move the thing, and I plugged it right back exactly where it was.
Oh,
and I went like this. I went, really? Really? She goes, you know what? You're really like bugging me now. What would you suggest I do? You unplug one plug, so I unplug everything and plug it back. Can't get it going. It's because it's a piece of electronic, or it's some sort of machinery or something. Look, I couldn't get the red thing to go into the WD-40 to spray on something. that straw couldn't. I was doing everything. And I say, look, this is defective, right? She gets it. Whoop. There it is. You know? I should bring that to bed. Go, hey, I got some lubricant.
I love the smell of it.
Yeah. Is it oil? What is it? What is that?
I don't know. Isn't the 40th time he tried something?
Oh, that's right.
Something like that.
But it's some sort of oil with water in it. 4 women will be in this year's Indianapolis 500. Britain's Catherine Legg, Pippa Mann, Brazilian Ana Beatrice. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Simona Di Silvestro. Is that right? In the 33-car field, Christina, 4 women. Wow. You know what that's like? The View on Valvoline.
Badass.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I might watch it. You know, it goes around in a circle 500 times. That's the race? That's it?
No, I think it's 500 miles.
But in a circle.
But I think each lap is like 2.5 miles or something like that.
And this is huge too. And you know, NASCAR is huge also. But you know, I've worked a lot of NASCAR events. It's really loud, and they're going in a circle. I get a little kind of motion sick watching the event. And the noise is disconcerting too. I've been in the pit and everything, all that stuff. People love all that stuff. I don't get it. And you know, you got to whisper. It's a huge deal. Like here at Sirius, it's huge. You know, and it goes in a circle, and you sit there. Sometimes the guy that wins isn't the winner. That's the other thing that's weird. He doesn't have enough points, or I don't know, you know, what and they have talk shows, all these talk shows about the tires and what goes in the car and
yeah, pregame.
And how come all of the race car drivers are these young, thin, handsome guys?
Because you sweat so much in there. You just
it used to be big, fat, like booze runners.
Yeah.
You know? Redneck-looking guys.
Well,
you
the
know?
Indy 500's those open wheel cars, so you have to be small to even fit in them. You know, they don't have a roof or anything.
Yeah, you have to get in through the window or something, right? And then it's
yes.
No, the open wheels, you just step in and you're sitting. It's like a rocket with wheels on it.
I'd like to drive a race
The
car.
NASCAR, you do have to go through the window.
I had a beat-up Volvo, and the doors wouldn't open, and I would climb through the window, and I'd go, "Yep, heading for Indianapolis."
It's a hazard.
Yep, see you later.
Badass.
No handles. By the way, there are people that say they want an alternative to burial and cremation. And if you've seen this thing in New York, and I went to see it, Body Works, and it was done in China, and they're saying that they did it to prisoners and to peasants. They literally, Christina, have you seen it? They have every sinew, every vein. It's gone all over the world, and now it's permanently, I think, in New York. It's the human body, men, women, children, everything, real people, and they do some sort of liquid plastic, the bodily fluids. It's a plastination, it's called, and it has a little bit of a formaldehyde smell in the exhibit, but it shows them playing tennis or whatever. I mean, every sinew, every muscle, every blood vessel is exposed with a big skeleton head. Everything. Garrett, have you seen it?
No.
Oh my, it's been around forever.
Is this the bodies?
Yeah.
That exhibit? Oh, I've seen
Body
pictures.
Work, Body Whirls, Body Works, the bodies. 7,000 people have now agreed to donate their bodies for this plastination when they do the next exhibits, and their body fluids can be replaced with this liquid plastic. Specimens are flayed and dissected, revealing the organs. Everything is kept intact, and they're in some, like a dramatic pose. You know? Like, I'd be at the microphone talking. They'd have my hand out, you know, the microphone would be there, my mouth would be open, and it would show you everything you know, Christina would be eating a piece of pizza going right at her, Garrett.
Would you see it in their stomach? The chewed up parts?
No, you see what moves when you do something. Like they'd show you drooling.
All right.
Yeah. You like to show the drool muscle. I don't know what that is.
I know what my drool muscle is.
Yeah, now that's badass. The great linebacker from Chicago, Brian Urlacher, has retired. 8 Pro Bowls, couldn't win the big one. Now he'll be free to, I guess, hold Jenny McCarthy's purse when she's shopping or doing failed pilots. That's his girlfriend, isn't it?
They're still dating, huh?
I think so.
I wonder if he's as in with the kid as Jim Carrey was. You know, because that was a big thing when they split up.
I doubt it, because he dated like Paris Hilton and other type of blonde bimbos. Jim Carrey doesn't. He seemed like a family type of guy. And
Yeah.
would care.
Wait a minute.
Speaking of
The little boy is autistic.
Yeah.
So
I thought Jenny cured him.
No.
Oh.
What?
I thought she cured
No.
him. I thought that she
I thought
holistically cured him or something.
I remember hearing that too, that he was cured or something. I don't know.
You know what? There are people that are misdiagnosed. They can end up being, you know, they call them savants at one time. Really smart. Like the guy that called us earlier from the Scientific American. He could actually have a form of autism because he's interested in all that kooky stuff. I'm not joking.
What?
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. There are people that could be brilliant at something and they're just focused on it, and they're functioning autistic people. Yeah, I meet people all the time that say, you know, diagnosed as autistic and they've dealt with it or whatever, and how did it manifest itself? Well, they were an expert at something, or they couldn't quit focusing on repairing a car. I swear. So maybe she thinks he's cured because he kind of, now this is crazy, he kind of grew out of it a little bit, or it wasn't as severe, you know, as he thought.
Yeah.
Brian Urlacher dated Paris Hilton. How do they even meet? How would they even meet each other?
Speaking of Paris Hilton,
where do you go to fight?
Deal.
I heard that.
And I think it was the year they went to the Super Bowl, too.
She's totally yesterday's
forgot
news.
she even existed, to be honest with you, and that's me talking. This is the only stuff I pay attention to, and I forgot that she existed.
Who is dumb enough to think that anything with her in it would have to, you know, would be worth anything? Paris Hilton.
Well, I don't know. I really enjoyed
Garrett, I don't think she has any value.
Nicole Richie.
I don't think she has any value anymore. That's over. That's long gone. It's almost like her crowd, you know, is old now. They got married.
Yeah,
they got kids.
she's the only one that hasn't. And, you know, she's my age, so she's probably, you know, 31, 32 years old.
So remember this. She was a heiress to $1 billion fortune before she was on TV. She didn't need the money.
Yeah.
Right.
It was originally the stardom. The reality show was offered to her sister, and her sister turned it down.
Best move ever, because her sister is so boring.
No, well, her sister was sorry she did it and then tried to have some kind of a...
She's more like behind the scenes in fashion, and so she's like a business person, and she's, got her own clothing. She was smart about it and didn't want to become famous. She kind of just ducked out in the back and
That's not true.
Thing.
She wanted to become famous at something more important, like acting or whatever, and now her sister took off, and she tried to have a little run at it.
Yeah, but she's better behind the scenes. She's boring and shy.
How about you're already immensely wealthy? Every time you drive by a Hilton, you go like this, I own that. Like that. It's my last name, Hilton. Can you imagine? It'd be like somebody once asked me, hey, are you a part of the Thomas's English Muffin family?
Nooks and Crannies.
I said, yeah, I did. I said, originally it was Nooks and Grannies. It was named for my grandmother. I said that. Really? Really? I go, yeah. Can you imagine you're the heir to the Thomas English Muffin fortune? Well, I would love, my dad, dry hole, couldn't hit a well. Could not. He hit wells for other people. Then he invested his own money. Boom. Couldn't hit a well. Mortgaged our house. I'm not joking. Everything. Some other guy, he bought a lease down the street. My mother used to go, oh my God, he lives in a castle now. We don't live in a castle, do we, Harry? Like that. I told you to go with him. Oh yeah, my mother's one of those. I told you to go with him.
Monday morning quarterback.
Oh yeah. Monday morning petroleum engineer. Okay? My dad would do the same thing. God damn it, Kathy, shut up! Oh, yeah. Oh, it was bad. Bad. Oh, yeah. Shut up! There you go. And you read his World War II letters. Oh, my darling, my dearest. When I get back from this horrible conflict, and I'm reading going, oh, my God, my poor dad. He had some, incredible vision, and a lot of these guys did, of what his life was going to be like with the wife and the kids and all, and they're fighting the war and seeing these horrible things, and they hurry up and married the women, right? Knocked them up and went overseas. Gone for 3 years, right? Going into these ports with these women with their tops off. They would come out to the ships, and they wore coconuts as brassieres. Did you know that?
I did.
And they'd take the coconuts off and show the sailors. And the sailors would throw things, and the people would dive in. Me, I'd have gone back to one of those islands after the war. That's what I would have done. Oh, yeah. Instead, they all came home. They go into town. They got the wife, the whole thing. And it's not the movie version of life that they thought. Oh, my darling, my dearest, and all that. Please. So I read those letters, and then I watched my parents' relationship. I mean, they loved each other and all that. But, it's a disappointment. God, the movies make it look fabulous, don't they? It's unreal. Now, me, that's why I got married for real as an older guy. I knew it was going to suck eventually, Garrett. I knew it.
Yeah.
Had it in me. So you know what I got? A woman with a strong back, Garrett. I picked one like the old days. I wanted to be able to have those childbearing hips and a strong back. That's what you need. That's what I did. Good mom, kids are strong, good worker, right? You got one of these hotsy-totsies, likes to go dancing, be in the clubs and all that, then they don't work. So the relationship runs out of gas, and you're not getting any real elbow grease out of them, Garrett. On some level, I'm not kidding. I'm really not. That's what's really sad about me. Larry, you're in California, and now you're on the Jay Thomas Show. Tell me what you know about Jenny McCarthy and this Brian Urlacher. Are they still dating, and did she cure her child of autism? I hope she did.
No, as a matter of fact, she broke up with
Brian, she was on Howard Stern, and they were going to try to get her a date. And then she went on one of those dating shows, websites, and found some guy. And then so she told Howard Stern to forget about it. But Gary had it all lined up. He said he had some pretty good prospects for her.
You know what's weird about her? She's been with, came on my show and talked about this director she worked with, who she fell in love with, and he was like scared of her. So she had her way with him in the backseat of a car and just, was on the guy. And the guy marries her, and they're miserable or something. They have a child, and sadly, the child is diagnosed with autism, and they break up, right? Then she has, before Jim Carrey, she had other guys, right? Other guys. You know what's weird? Here they're supposed to be so beautiful, and they're supposed to be so funny and all that. And it's like, I'm sorry, but there's something weird about that. Same thing with Jennifer Aniston. What you see her on a talk show. I watched her on Ellen DeGeneres the other day, right? Of course, I think Ellen looks at women in a very salacious way. In that if it was a guy, you'd be in trouble. She gets a real pass. She gets a real pass, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then Jenny, she writes a book about every guy and everything that happens in her life. I mean, what is that?
I got the guy. I had the baby. Whoa, bad. She had cancer yet? Has she had a cancer book out?
I think so.
Man. It's unreal. Yeah, I don't think they could ever just go home, have money, marry the ex-football player, whatever, and have a good time. I really don't. They wake up every day, and it's got to be, trying to be funny or taking her clothes off in the magazine or whatever. I'm telling you now, she seems like a nice person. I could never, in a million years, be with a person who took their clothes off in a magazine. So help me, Jimmy Connors. Could not do it.
Well,
I
think it's
kidding?
It's the narcissism. It's always got to be about her. She's got to have something going on, and look at me, look at me.
Yeah. You don't see me naked in a magazine. When my career started to go a little bit, Christina, did you read about me going, well, I'm going to start...
Never.
I'm going to start showing Garrett my entire whopper. I'm going to give her a whopper shot. Okay. Thank you. Nice talking to you. Thanks a lot. That's a guy I can hang with. Sit at the bar together. Yeah. 1,000 Americans were asked what judge they trusted the most on the Supreme Court. The highest trust level went to Judge Judy.
I was going to say.
I believe
what
it.
idiot.
Yeah.
What idiot.
What do you mean? I take everything she says to be true and right. And
yeah.
She's a tough broad.
She's not on the Supreme Court.
The Psychosomatic
Neither here nor
Research,
there.
the Psychosomatic Research Institute, 1,500 people, it put them in a room, and it told them they were going to test the Wi-Fi and the type of things that Wi-Fi can do to human beings. They were told that you may feel an itch or a burn around your eyes, your mouth, perhaps a tightening in your throat. You may find it difficult to breathe, to focus, or to swallow. When this hi-fi box and helmet was put on your head. So they put the thing on people's heads, and people began to faint. They began to, burn around their eyes and mouth. Half of them reacted to the Wi-Fi. There was nothing in the helmet, and there was no Wi-Fi in the room.
Yeah, they just made some gizmo with a lot of plugs and an antenna sticking out of it.
People fainted.
And told people it was like trying to improve Wi-Fi.
Then that group went over and did the Judge Judy Supreme Court thing. Same group. You got to think that's got to be 1,000 complete idiots.
I know I couldn't name all the justices. I could maybe 3 of them.
31% of women say that they would give their phone number, Christina, to a man carrying a guitar, double the number of women who would give their number to a guy that was empty-handed. Now, Garrett, now the guy's got a guitar at a party or you're at a picnic. You're in a group of whatever. Yeah, guy's got a guitar. Would you trust the guy sitting on a rock with a guitar more than you would trust a guy just sitting, on a rock without a guitar? I guess you would. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah. It's.
You're right. You walk by me.
Something about you.
Michael rode the boat ashore. Hey, how you doing, sweetheart? Hallelujah. Come on over here and sing with me. Hallelujah. So you start singing with him, or you're by the rock doing this. Hey, what's happening? You're badass. I don't know. The guitar, I guess.
What's weird is only 5% of girls would give a bass guitarist their number.
Oh, yeah. Boy, you know what? Don't do that. That makes the phones light up. I still get emails about that. How dare you say the bass is useless? Yeah, turn down all 46 tracks and you'll hear. Boom, 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 boom. Then you turn the music up. Gee, can hear everything else. The drums, the piano, the lead guitar. You don't hear.
You don't ever see anybody choosing to play bass on Rock Band either.
Round the Horn, most famous rock group ever not to have a bassist. Doors. No bassist.
Wait, so we're not doing Around the Horn?
No, I did it already.
You just played by yourself?
I did it. I played for myself.
Is that because he died?
I don't know. No, he wasn't a bass. He was the lead guitar player. I didn't know why I said that. I had like a little flashback there. You know what's really funny? I lost control for just a moment. I didn't even know what I was saying. Did the Doors have a bassist? I don't know. I was nutty, kooky, or weird. The Air Force has stripped 17 officers of any authority at all who were based at the Intercontinental Nuclear Missile Base in North Dakota. There was a surprise inspection. And they went in there and they were barbecuing and there's 24 hours a day. I swear to God. They were like screwing around, watching movies, doing everything else. The launch crew got a D at the inspection, were deemed indifferent to enemy attack, the possibility of enemy attack, were completely insubordinate when they were asked specific questions about their preparedness for nuclear attack. And they were rotting in the ranks. Well, look, you're in North Dakota, and they're lying to us that the North Koreans are going to have, they're going to send a Roman candle over, right? Or, they've got to stop it. They're bored to death. Who's going to attack us from outer space with a rock? The Chinese? Why? We won't buy any more beads and tennis shoes. That'll ruin their economy. The Russians? What are they waiting for? When are we going to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile? When? Never. Ever. As long as we live.
Hopefully.
They ought to have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts watching the thing. You and I are stationed, all three of us are stationed in North Dakota, underground, at a silo. Nothing happens. And we'd be warned. I'm sure if the buzzer went off, we'd go right into attack mode. That, wow, wow, wow. I'd stop barbecuing immediately, right? You'd pull your headsets off and go, hey, what was that? What was that noise? Yeah. They go in there with a snap inspection. Can you imagine if they came in here for an inspection? Oh, my God.
We're ready.
They would go like this. And now who's the main broadcaster? Would be him over there. Yeah. All right. From, what's the name of the show? Strange Jobs? Is that it?
I don't know if it was a show. It was just some article came up about the wackiest jobs. But it was always the same. I don't think like a list came out of the wackiest jobs. It was, I think, this one article made up these three.
A lot of jobs.
No, there's only three. That was the thing. I kept looking for like a list.
Well, we had the arm sniffer.
Yeah. So we just need the paint watcher.
Well, we need to get the paint watcher then. Make it a trifecta.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Well, stay where you are. We've got the doggy. Now, he doesn't just taste the cookies, Christina. He taste tests the dental sticks, the chewy bones. Now, wait a minute. The liver mixture.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
What is his breath smell?
And a horse food. This is crazy.
They feed their dogs kangaroo in Australia.
Is he from Australia?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to be calling in Australia where it must be, 4 in the morning? I don't know what it is. And by the way, when you go to Australia, when you go to the toilet or into the bathroom, what happens differently, Christina, in Australia than in the United States?
Do you have to pull down to flush instead of using the flush on the nozzle, on the toilet? You know?
You have to pull down like a chain.
Yeah.
Hit the button, pull the chain. Here comes the chocolate choo-choo train.
Garrett, for that snarky answer. Hey, what is it, Garrett? What happens? Tell me what happens. What's
Your
the
mother
difference
used to sing that to you?
What's the difference? I'm in the middle of something, please. What's the difference between when you flush the toilet in the United States and in Australia?
The eddy of the water is counterclockwise.
That's exactly correct.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes you could pretend you didn't know the answer.
Yeah, Garrett, really.
You know what?
Well,
and then to use the word eddy, which was very good on my end. Very good. You know? That was pretty darn good. There's actually a storm that has the word eddy in it, and when I got my captain's license for the boat, I always forgot it, and you just said it, I can't remember. Like a southern eddy or something like that. I don't know. Okay, we're going to have the doggy chew toy tester. Gosh, I got to tell you. And they say there are no jobs out there for college graduates. Stay where you are.
Jay Thomas.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Afternoons. The Jay Thomas Show.
It's the show that the average listener would do if they could do their own radio show.
Sirius XM 104.
You better stop,
Jackie Wilson, right, Garrett? Jackie Wilson. Man, oh man. Wow. Whew.
If you don't stop,
Whew. I could do some slow dance grind into that one, Christina. Yeah. Ba, 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 boo. Ba, ba, ba. With your mom.
take it.
Yeah. Can take it. If I went to see a friend of mine who I knew during the day, hey man, come see me sing. And you see him sing, he's going like this. Can take it. I would go, what are you doing? What kind of voice is that? So upset, you know. What? Man, you sound a little fey in that thing. Hey, Mark Gooley, all the way in Australia. Welcome to, I don't know if you know this or not, you're on one of the greatest radio shows in the United States, all the ships at sea, and in Canada. We go all the way up to Alaska. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. What time is it there?
8:30.
In the morning on Friday?
Yeah, in the morning.
You know why I'm shouting?
I don't know. I'm shouting back.
Yeah. You're 10,000 miles away. That's why.
Well, I'm going to be there next week, so next week
Well,
you won't have to shout.
You're going to come to the United States?
Yeah.
What city?
I'm going to Las Vegas.
Ooh. Wow.
The International Tea Fair is on, and my wife's a tea master, so I'm having a week off to go and see what she does.
Now, before we get into what you do for a living, which is really unusual, what you say, a tea master like tea you drink?
Yes, liquid tea.
What does she do as a tea master? This is kind of a wild job too. What is that?
Yeah, she's really interesting. She
blends tea.
Yeah.
In like your herbal tea, and she picks tea for certain companies, like not as in physically picks it, but selects the tea that they like to do, and tastings.
Like chamomile. She would taste the chamomile tea and know, almost like a wine. She would know a fine tea like a person would know a fine wine.
Yeah, like a wine sommelier, but only in tea.
Now, let me tell you something. I've always heard that in the United States, we get the worst tea that the English and the Australians and certainly the Indians, they get the best tea. Is that true that we get we don't even know good tea here?
You wouldn't know good tea in America if it came up and bit you on the backside.
So when you come to the United States, or your wife comes here,
bring my own.
Really, you pack your own tea, man.
Same as with coffee.
They before we go to your interview, they brought some Italians over to taste the finest olive oil in the United States. Garrett, this is totally true. And they tasted the olive oil, and the Italians said that half the stuff they tasted was rancid. That we were eating it. We thought it was delicious, the Americans. That it was bad, it was old. Yeah.
The trouble with the olive oil is they don't select, or they do select the best quality oil, but then you have it blended down so it's watered off, and that makes it become cheaper, but it's got an acidic taste to it.
Now, you know so many things. Mark Gooley, one of the things this is the reason why we have you on, you taste dog treats. Now, how did you get that job?
Well, I fell into it. I started extruding dog treats, and I wanted to make them as close as possible that I could to human-grade ingredients. Yeah. And then I ran into the problem of, okay, well, you test the product, but the dog can't tell me whether it's good or bad. Mm-hmm. So the only option was to try it myself and then make a decision on whether I'd let the animal eat it.
Now, this is the same animal that will eat a rotted, something rotted that's been buried underground for a while, and then will also lick its own rear end and really enjoy itself, and will just eat the most disgusting things. And then you're a human with human flavor buds. I don't understand why you need to test the dog treats.
Because I want the integrity of the product, and I want the animal to have a pleasurable experience when it eats the product. So it's got to have the right protein count. It's got to have the right fat, the right salt. All dogs need salt. They get good mineral salts out of the rotted carcass, because when they're eating that carcass, they're also ingesting mineral salts from the ground. And as time's gone on and we've domesticated dogs, we've started feeding them in dog bowls.
Right.
All this sanitized stuff that the dog doesn't ingest, all these good mineral salts from the earth. So I wanted to change it back.
Yeah, but I'm not following here. It's like a dog. I will eat something and it tastes good to me, but the dog doesn't care what it tastes like.
Well, the dog does care what it tastes like.
It does.
It can't tell you.
Right. So when you bite on a chew toy, like a thing that looks like beef jerky, but it's really for a dog, you bite into it. How long do you keep it in your mouth?
I keep it in my mouth for probably 5 or 10 seconds, so I can switch it around a bit and get the flavour profile and what I feel the salt content is, or the fat content. You get a profile on your tongue.
Mm-hmm. And then do you eat dog food also?
No.
No.
I don't eat other people's product. I only eat my own product, Huds and Tote.
Now you're in Australia, do you make a chew toy out of kangaroo?
Yes.
Wow. And so when you say you make it, do you have all the meat byproducts and all the stuff right there at your disposal?
Yes, right at the factory.
Wow. So you boil the kangaroo, and you get all the goo out of it and all, and you put some sort of minerals in it and everything else. You make these chew toys, and then you go by and you taste it, and do you ever say, oh, that tastes terrible, the dog wouldn't like it?
Yes, I do. When we're constructing a formula, and I'm looking to try and develop a new product, there is plenty of opportunities to taste it. And you might, it's like cooking good pasta at home. You might just miss the mark.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So you say...
Now, Garrett has a dog, and Christina has a dog. Garrett, what sort of chew toy have you given your dog? What sort of thing does he chew on?
Oh, God, everything. Rawhide,
all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Rawhide. Do you make anything that's like a rawhide, Mark?
Yes. I make rawhide rolls that are slugged. When I say slugged, they're slugged. Yeah. They're hollow. They're made from, rawhide's made from skin. So it's Australian skins sent to Taiwan to a mate of mine. He sends them back to me as Australian skins, and then I fill the centre of them with either a beef, a lamb, a kangaroo, a chicken formula, and then I bake them in the oven.
And then you take a taste of them.
What kind of meat are they using? Is it the stuff that they don't want to feed to humans, or are there special animals just for dog?
No, if you look at the meat that we use, like we use a meat meal, which is pure beef meal. Now you go to you go through the process. The animal arrives at the abattoir. The good cuts of steak, fillets, all that type of thing are dissected off the animal.
Yeah.
Then you have what's left over. That traditionally goes to a rendering plant and gets powdered down.
Oh, I got
now, do you and your wife, when's the last time you and your wife kissed?
Last night.
Okay. Now, she's been married to you for a long time. You've got this ongoing, incredible business, by the way. Huds and Toke, it's called. Yes. Can we get that in the United States or go online and get some?
You can go online and get some on the web.
Maybe Christina will give you our address.
We hope to be able to explore the United States.
Well, we will. Christina will give you an address, and maybe you'll send something to us, and I'll take a bite out of it on the air.
I can bring it over next week if you like.
Okay, please do. Now,
can you get some through customs?
Yes, you can get it right. Yeah, you can go right through. Yeah, you can. Sure, you can. Yeah,
if I get arrested, I'm holding you boys responsible.
No, you tell them it's a sex toy. So now you kiss your wife. Does she ever go, "My God, your mouth tastes like a beef training twist"? Does she ever say that to you?
No.
Really? I mean, come on, this is odd.
I'm a 6'3" Aussie boy. Any woman in the world just clambers to get kissed.
Yeah. Even after you've bitten into a chicken dental chewy bone? Yeah.
You scratch me behind the ear, boy, and I go off.
Wow. All right. Well, this is great news. Have a great time in Las Vegas. Do you gamble?
No, not traditionally, but I'm going to have a good look around.
Go, by the way, online. It's Huds and Toke, and he Mark Gooley in Australia. By the way, one last question in a few minutes. Kangaroos must have really small private parts, because if you hop like that, like me, if I hopped all day long, it would really jostle me down there. Do they have really small private parts down there?
No, they have large. If you're looking at the male kangaroo, the reason that they hop so quickly is because on the incline they are hitting their parts, and they hit so hard that it makes them jump higher the next time.
Mark Dooley from Australia coming to the United States. loves his own treats at Hudson Toke. Mark, thank you very much. Can't wait to bite into a liver microbone.
Hey, listen, buddy, I have a right to talk. I understand there's reluctance. No network is interested. I can offer nothing but my blood, toil, sweat, and tears.
He can't seem to face up to the facts. His sitcom acting has fell in the cracks. He can't stop his acting desire. Don't touch him, he's a real live wire. Sitcom killer, his name is Jay. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Thomas better run, 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 run away. Oh, sitcom killer, his name is Jay. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Thomas better run, 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 run away.
Wearing panties, are you? I'm finding myself strangely aroused.